seconds.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm supposed to taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right there.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Am I looking here? Okay, fantastic. Folks, this was a last-minute announcement, but there was some extracurricular activities going on in Miami, some songs being played, some text messages, phones blowing up, and...
I didn't hear. What happened?
Yeah, so there was this group of guys that were hanging out playing this song in a city, Miami, where most of the clubs are owned by this community that the song was bashing, that, you know, by Kanye West, and then everybody reacted. As a matter of fact, why don't we do this, Tate, to just kick it off?
Sure.
Good to have you back on here.
I'm glad to be back with the guys.
This looks like the cigar lounge from Madrid.
Exactly.
Except
Yes, it does.
it's not. We are, let's pick a city we're in right now. We're right now in, we're in Barcelona right now.
Nice.
Okay, Barcelona, Florida. Somewhere in Barcelona, Florida is where we are right now doing this podcast.
Big difference between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Vinny, right?
100%.
Okay, so why don't we do this though? On a serious note, so let's play this clip, Rob, and then Tate will just start off with this clip, what the news is saying, and we'll come.
It's on the news.
It's all over the place.
You made the fucking news.
You made the news. Channel 7, Miami. So, Rob, if you want to play this clip, go for it.
People laughing and celebrating Heil Hitler and Adolf Hitler. I cannot believe we're even seeing this and witnessing Miami Beach.
A Miami Beach nightclub catching heat, accused of celebrating hate with a song about Hitler.
Absolute disgust.
Disgusted, horrified.
City leaders reacting to videos making the rounds on social media featuring the Kanye West song with the lyrics Heil Hitler over and over again. The same men seen in the club, known as controversial influencers, are also in a video from a limo. In that one, they're singing, and one of them is performing a Nazi salute.
To have people in our city celebrating this. Animals.
This is obviously not welcome in Miami Beach. It should not be welcome anywhere in the world.
And by the way, I spoke to other club operators. They are not welcome in their club. How they got into this club, open arms, I want to know how.
The videos are from Saturday night. This one inside the Club Vendome at 743 Washington Avenue. The club releasing a statement on social media that reads in part, "We want to be unequivocally clear. Vendome and our hospitality group do not condone anti-Semitism, hate speech, or prejudice of any kind." It goes on to state, "We are deeply disturbed by the harm caused by this incident and the circulation of this footage." The Post explains the business is looking into safeguards and procedures to make sure this doesn't happen again. As for the men in the video celebrating the song, the mayor has...
Can pause it at this time.
I barely even see me at any of this,
Yeah.
firstly. But I want to be very careful here because I don't want to deflect too heavily. I don't want to be blaming other people, etc. A whole bunch of songs were played that night, none of which I requested. None. I walk into a nightclub and songs are played. Unfortunately, if anything happens anywhere near me, it gets tied to my name. If someone got shot in that club, they would have said, Andrew Tate's in a nightclub where this man got shot. I didn't shoot him. I didn't pull the trigger. I don't know who the fuck he is. I was there and the song was played. The actual conversation I think that's interesting to have when it comes to this is the nature of the internet and the nature of influencing in general. Because I think we're living in a world now where only shock value seems to get anybody's attention for any significant period of time because everyone's dopamine receptors are completely fried. So all of these young influencers or anyone on the internet who's trying to make any name for themselves is trying to be as controversial and shocking as possible as quickly as possible. And that's why the song was played, because it gets views. That's why. I didn't play it. I didn't ask them to play it. I didn't dance. I didn't sing. In fact, the only time you see me on there is me storming out of the bus saying this is ridiculous and leaving. But I know why it was played. It was played because of this. It was played because it gets traction in a world where everybody is bored of everything all of the time. And that's why these young people are encouraged constantly to try and do the most shocking thing possible. You see this not just with this song, you see this on all their streams. They're running people over and doing retarded shit constantly. So I'm not here to make excuses for myself. I'm not here to say it wasn't me. I'm not here to, blame someone else. But it is kind of ridiculous. It does feel a bit unfair that I'm standing in a nightclub. A song comes on that I did not request. A song comes on that I do not dance to. I do not repeat the lyrics to. I just stand there. and then they want to attribute somehow the song playing to me and it all being my fault.
That's a fair argument, but I'll to the average person that's watching it, back in the days when I'm younger, I'm in a car with a guy who I get out of the military. It's December 23rd, 97. The guy's got a bunch of pot in the back of his trunk. Cops come out, and I'm in the Army, and my guy's calling me, telling me, hey, you got to figure something out. You can't be involved in something like this.
Yep.
So guilty by association, it's the first thing they're going to say. You hung out with these guys. When I watched the video, Andrew, with you and them, Tristan looks extremely uncomfortable, okay? And the way you were smiling, because I saw a lot of, everyone's texting me. You and I communicate, we have conversations together. You looked extremely uncomfortable as well. You're smiling, but you're not, you know already what's going to happen. It was almost a look where I said, Tate knows what's about to happen next.
Yeah, the shock value really isn't worth it to me. I mean, I've said some shocking things, and people will believe my brand is built on shock value, but I think they're at least shocking opinions. I like to think that I'm sitting there saying, this is my opinion, you may find it shocking, but this is what I truly believe. These are my worldviews, and perhaps there's a lot of people who agree with me, disagree with me, but to just shock and offend purely for the purpose of shocking and offending, I think that that's something that has plagued the internet for a while, but it's getting worse and worse. And you notice it across the entire streaming world because people are struggling to get any kind of views or shake people out of apathy. And when I talk to anybody below 25 who's doing anything on the internet, their only intention is to be as shocking and therefore as offensive as possible. That's what they're sitting there thinking. How do I get everybody to panic within 3 seconds? Otherwise, they're going to scroll past me. Mm-hmm. And that's what people are doing. That's the world we live in.
Why hang out with them?
Well, I haven't seen them in a long time. It's the first time I met two of them. It's the first time I met Clav and Nick. I spoke to them online, but it's the first time I ever met them. I hadn't seen Sneeko in a while.
You and Nick have never met each other?
Never met.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Never met.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the Braden guy, Clav, whatever his name is, he's new.
First time I ever met them.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, they were nice guys when I met them. It's the first time I've spoken to them. I sat down with them, and I don't think they even put the song on. I have to guess. I think Sneeko may have put the song on, who I'd met many times before. But it was a long night. It was 6 or 7 hours in which, for 2 minutes of it, someone got a phone and put a song on. It wasn't me. And now it's all over the news. So I just think that the main reason this is being done is because shock value is what people are optimizing for with their content primarily. And then we can have another conversation entirely about why anti-Semitism is on the rise in the first place, because I have a theory about that also. And I think that the main reason anti-Semitism is on the rise across America, because there's no doubt about it that it is because young men are being told that Jews control the system, and young men are being screwed by the system. It doesn't mean it's true. I'm not going to sit here and say that Jews completely and utterly control the system. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you tell young men that, and they believe that, even if it's not true, and they're getting screwed by the system, that's why people are anti-Semitic. There was no anti-Semitism when a man could afford a house, and there was no anti-Semitism when a man could get a wife. And there's no anti-Semitism when he looked around and felt part of his community. But people are so disenfranchised now with the places they're living in and the society they're forced to live within, and they feel so disconnected from everything. They've become revolutionary. Young men of the world are revolutionary. They're looking for somebody to blame. They're told it's the Jews, so that's why they're being anti-Semitic. That's the truth about what is happening.
And it's funny though, Andrew, like, what's Nicholas Sneak? He's a grown man. I'm going to call him his real name. He's Filipino, Haitian, and his father is of Jewish descent. So on top of that, it doesn't make any sense. He's the Jew, so you're going to go to a town that's predominantly a lot of Jewish-owned businesses. You're technically Jewish too. You're playing that song, and then when you get in trouble for it, you're screaming anti-Semitism, and it's all the Jews run everything, and it's ridiculous. And I think in that sense too, Andrew, they use you, which I know you're upset. You have to be. They use you to play that song to be like, look who's with us. And you're right. I saw you. You walked right out, and even in the nightclub, you were kind of like, whatever, but I would be even more livid because coming from a guy that has a Jewish father, brings you in, plays the Hitler song, and then you're the only guy that's going to catch real flack for it.
Yeah, I think it was, so if I'm going to be optimistic, it was short-sighted by them. If I'm going to be pessimistic, it was certainly very, I mean, I wouldn't say they set me up, but they should have known that, this is going to cause a whole bunch of flack for me, specifically.
In Miami.
In Miami, of course. But if I'm totally honest with you, I don't think that any of them are deeply anti-Semitic genuinely, and I don't think that any of them really thought it through. Honestly, I think they're just kids. I think they're just kids. It gets a reaction. They think they're funny. They're on the internet. They need a reaction. They want likes, and they did some fucking dumb shit. That's what I think it is. I think they're just literally retarded.
How old is Nicholas? If you don't, how old? Cause I know
I don't know. They're all young.
braiding
They're
guys
all in their young 20s or something.
I would love to agree with you, brother, but they're not all kids. By the way, nobody online or in the Jewish community defends you more online or behind the scenes than me.
I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that.
You know, I had dinner with Tristan and Justin Wall the other day.
Yeah.
I got the call. It's Sunday. You ruined my day. At the very least, you ruined my Sunday.
Well, with
my nephew.
I woke up. I was like, what
I
the
feel
fuck?
you. And I get a call from not one person, not two, everybody.
Yep.
Your brother, you're texting me, Justin Waller, the club owners, the DJ, everyone, the mayor.
The bathroom attendant.
Like, the bathroom attendant, I tip him good. He called me.
Who's Cuban, but go ahead.
But they're not all kids. We know Myron's almost 40.
Yeah.
You're almost 40.
Yep.
Tristan's 35.
Yep.
This ain't kid stuff. So what I think is I actually believe you. You think I'm going to wait for 5 years of working with you, friendship with you, to throw you under the bus last minute? That's not how we roll. But I think Sneeko played the song.
Yeah.
I think Tristan explicitly told me that Sneeko played the song. I think when you sort of diffuse the situation, they're kids being kids. Myron, who, you know how much time we've spent with Myron.
Yep.
That ain't no kid stuff.
Well, Myron's not a kid, and he's a really good friend of mine.
I agree.
And Myron's not a kid, you're right. I don't know if Sneeko played the song, Sneeko played the song. I'm telling you from my perspective, and I want to make it something...
But how do you feel about that? Because let me ask you a specific question.
Sure.
Do you know how much time I spent with your brother and Justin Waller at 9 o'clock on Sunday? I left at 3 in the morning. Serious conversations, laughs. Of course, we're having Blue Label.
Yeah.
And Tristan, in my perspective, is like, dude, I'm done with these people. That's my perspective. I'll let him speak for himself. But he told me a story about your grandfather.
Yep.
Who served in World War II, yes?
Yes.
The American.
Yep.
What would your grandfather say about that? A neo-Nazi symbol. Who fought the Nazis?
Yeah, I understand. And we have to be very, very careful. I understand exactly what you're saying. I agree that that is offensive to many people. I totally understand it. And I'm not here to get myself...
It's offensive to Americans.
Well, yes.
Forget about just Jews. American lives died fighting Nazis.
That's true. That's true.
Your grandfather's friends died fighting Nazis. That, to me, Jews or not Jews, Americans went to war against Nazis. This is an American thing. I wear an American flag pin, not an Israeli flag pin, not a global flag pin, certainly not an LGBT flag, American flag pin.
Yep.
My grandfather fought in World War II.
Yep.
So to me, this is anti-American. And I'm cool with Myron. I used to be cool with Myron. But how am I going to hang out with that? How are you going to hang out with that?
I've known Myron for a very long time. He's been a great friend of mine. And I have to make this very clear to the world. I have a whole bunch of friends who do a whole bunch of shit that perhaps I would not do myself, or I may not 100% agree with. But that doesn't mean they're not my friends, and I don't speak to them. I have to be honest here, guys. I'm really not trying to do some big apology tour. And the reason for that is because I really didn't do anything wrong. So I want to make this clear. I understand why some people were offended. I understand they want to attach it to my name. I understand that it gets clicks in the media if you say Andrew Tate did X, Y, Z. I got on a bus. Full-grown men made decisions while I sat on my phone. I then got off the bus and stood in a nightclub while other people played songs while I sat on my phone. If they want to crucify me for that, that's up to them. Myron made the Nazi salute because he thought it was funny. That's Myron to come here and defend.
Of course.
It's not for me to sit here and come here and defend. Myron is someone I know and I respect and I like. Even if he did something that offended me, even if I found that offensive, I would still say, oh, okay, well, I like Myron. I have a whole bunch of friends who do a whole bunch of things that I don't like. I have black friends, white friends. I have every single type of friend you can have. We have the most racist group chat in the world. This is the world I live in, right? And I think that the reason the anti-Semitism issue is so sensitive is, one, because of the prevalence, especially online. And I'm not going to lie, I see it everywhere myself. I'm not even Jewish. It must be scary to see it absolutely everywhere online. The reason for that, I've just given you my theory as to why. That's the first reason. Second thing, of course, is World War II, and a lot of people died in the name of defending Jews. Of course, I understand that completely. But then thirdly, and I'd like to have an actual open and honest conversation about this. Don't we think, and I actually want your opinions, the fact that a song came on and the reaction has been so fierce and so, not aggressive, but So it's so clear that songs like this can't be played without meeting genuine power in the world. Don't you think, to somebody who is completely detached from this situation, somebody at home who has nothing to do with this situation, watches it and sits and goes, see? They are in charge of everything. I'm asking.
This is the perfect, by the way, I'm so grateful we're having this conversation because the world needs to see this.
Yeah.
If this was played in any other city, Tate, you would not see this reaction.
Got it.
Can I explain something?
Sure.
Miami Beach, they don't play this game, dog.
Well, clearly.
You're not going to Mamdani Miami.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
By the way, Stephen Miner, the mayor, Joe Magazine, David Suarez, you have a Jew and an Italian and a Cuban walk into a nightclub and they say, we don't play this game, homie. We see what's going on in the world, and every Jew, every capitalist, every billionaire leaving California, leaving New York, they're like, where can we go? You know how Governor DeSantis said, Florida's where woke goes to die.
Good friend of mine.
Your boy. Florida is where woke goes to die. Well, you know what? Miami is where racism goes to die. And by the way, I'm an equal opportunity employer when it comes to racism.
Yep.
Stand-up comedian, former stand-up comedian.
Yep.
One day PBD is going to get his shot. We know about that. And I would say this. It's not racist if you make fun of everybody. Anybody can get it.
So I'm clear.
We got a black guy there. We got an Italian guy there.
So I'm clear.
We got a gay guy there. I don't know. Nick Fuentes, gay, whatever it is. But it's only bad when you single out one group.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the challenge that you're going to happen. So all these guys that basically own the clubs, run the city, it's not just Jews. Cubans, Venezuelans, Jamaicans, Haitians. Yeah. It's one big melting pot in Miami. And the universal truth in Miami is don't bring that BS here. I'll explain why, and then I want to hear your perspective. Obviously, Jews have fled anti-Semitism, came to Miami. Mm-hmm. Half of South America, looking in the room here, fled communism, socialism, comes to Miami. Haitians flee corruption, come to Miami. Italians flee fascism, come to Miami. The reason that Miami is that city is because they all know what the rest of the world looks like.
Yeah.
That's why you're getting this reaction. Any other city, you're not going to get this. Okay?
I think you've lived in a bubble where you think Miami's the only place. Thank God you lived in Addison for a year and a couple other places. I think this is bigger than that to me. And by the way, I'd like to go to the next topic. Let's do a couple other things on this and let's move on to the next few topics to get into. I think, Tate, for me, it's a different conversation for you because every year when a new year starts, it's about how am I recreating myself for the next level. You know, when I was in my 20s, my buddy promoted a club called Club Jerk in Melrose, and then we used to go to Pimps and Hoes, and we used to go to, no, literally, I don't know if you ever heard of Pimps and Hoes.
It's a great name.
We used to go, it was literally called Pimps and Hoes in Vegas. I don't know if you want to pull it up or not.
Human trafficking.
They was, yeah, no, they would put the biggest clubs with 20,000 people show up, and LA had a nightclub called Club Naked. You know, you had all these different places to go to, and friends that you had that would do different things, and then one day I'm like, I got to recreate myself, and I'm going to the next level.
I totally understand your point. Nick Fuentes says a lot of things I agree with. I don't agree with everything he says. I've seen clips of him say things, and I found them very funny. I had never met him before. Collab's blown up online. He's doing things. I've seen some clips. I'd never met him before. I got to Miami for the first time in a long time. They said, guys, let's meet up. We met up. Sneeko came along. We went out. They played a song. For me, I understand what you're saying. Like, I need to reinvent myself, and I have all these charges.
If you choose to, you don't have to.
Of course, but I have all these charges, and I have the potential to have a brand new image, and I'm one of the best, most well-known people on the planet. If I meet somebody for the first time, or I meet people and hang out with them for 6 or 7 hours, and the entire thing is filmed, and 30 seconds blows up, I understand, and I'm really not trying to just pass blame, and I'm not trying to make excuses. But truthfully, I don't see what I should have done differently besides say, oh, I've never met you before, you haven't been vetted, I'm never going to meet anybody ever. or sit in a car and say, sorry guys, because I'm in this car, we must cut off the Bluetooth. Let me take everybody's phone from them. Like, it is what it is. I understand how these things get attached to my name. It's very inconvenient for me. I have Jewish business partners. I have tech teams in Israel. I have things going on, and I get a mess from this crap too. I can argue that I was set up. I can argue that Sneeko wasn't thinking. I can argue that they were just trying to chase clicks. I could argue it was malicious or not malicious. But truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, truthfully, I'm not here to beg sorry from anybody. I was in a van, and I was in a club. That club also played songs about beating the shit out of women and shooting fucking black people. I didn't put any of the songs on. I'm not the DJ. And I think, actually, truthfully, and we have to analyze this from an outside perspective, I'm not saying this as me. I'm saying this from a complete outsider. Everybody understands the scenario I just explained. Everybody's been in a car with people they don't know when someone else has the Bluetooth. Everybody has. So everybody can sit and say, well, if he's getting such a hard time over this, obviously some of the conspiracy theories must be true. Like, what did I do here? If the Jewish community want to come to me and say, Andrew, we're going to drive you out of Miami or put a bullet in your head, I'll say, well, then do it, because I just sat in a car. I'm really not going to sit here and beg sorry for sitting in a car. I sat in a car. And perhaps, yes, I should be more careful with the company I keep, correct. I'd never met half of these people ever before. They're some of the most famous people in the world. If you go and meet some of the most well-known people on the planet, and one of them sniffs coke, is it your fault? Are you going to sit and say, I met an actor, he's really famous, he's one of the biggest guys in the world, and he got photographed sniffing coke, and because you're relevant, they say, Patrick Bet-David caught up in drug scandal. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Grab men by their throat when they grab a phone to put on a Bluetooth? Like, I totally understand some people are offended by it. I get it. And perhaps maybe I'm just numb. Perhaps I've been through so much shit in my life that my brain's just numb. Perhaps. But if you were to put on a song, any song, saying, I hate half-black loudmouths, I wouldn't give a fuck.
I'd put you on the cover.
But that's the truth. So I'm sorry to anybody who is offended. I'm sorry to anybody who's offended. If I had played the song myself and danced around to it, sure. I was in a car.
Can I?
That's my answer.
Can I, dude? I don't want an apology. Nobody. I don't even think you should
I don't
apologize.
think this is a no.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a podcast to bring you on to apologize.
Not at all.
And by the way, he calls me. You and I are talking. I checked on. I didn't even know you're coming in town. When I message, I'm like, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm just," because I was messaging the other.
Yeah.
There's a couple places we communicate with. One of them, you didn't respond back. I said, "Is he good?" So then I messaged Matt.
Yeah.
And then I messaged back. He's like, "No, it's this one." And so I messaged it, checking to see how you're doing. And you're like, "Hey, I'm in town.
Yeah.
You're in town. I'm in town." And then obviously our guys are telling me this. No, for me, I look at everybody as a product of what is next for them. What is the next thing they need to do? What is the next thing they ought to consider doing as a iOS, 14.0 for Tate? What is that for Tate? What is Tate 15.0? And you look at a lot of people in the marketplace that way.
Totally understand.
So I think about it from that standpoint.
This hurts political ambitions for very little gain. Totally understand. It's just whether I could have stopped this or seen this coming. That's the question. I'm not glad this happened. Yeah. The question is, could I have stopped it? Well, no, because I didn't even know they were doing it. What I could do is when they put it on the car is leave the car.
I think you could have stopped it. I think you could have stopped it.
How?
I think you could easily stopped it.
How?
First of all,
play the clip of when it comes on the car and I leave the car. What else am I supposed to do?
Let me tell you what I'll tell you what I would do. For instance, you guys go out. Do you think if you invite me, I'm coming out?
If I invite you, will you come out?
Do you think if you guys go to a nightclub and the two of you guys invite me, am I coming out?
You probably not.
Why would I not come out?
Because I guess you don't enjoy going to nightclubs.
But no, why do you think I wouldn't come out? If you invite me to dinner and we're just hanging out, I stayed at your place in Romania till I don't know what time we were there having a conversation.
Oh,
it was incredible conversation, right?
Of course, nightclubs are absolute bullshit.
But think about this for a second. So if you were to invite me to go to a certain places, in your mind, you'd probably say, there's no way Pat's going to come out to this, but let's go to dinner with him. Sure. No problem. So I control where I go to, and I determine my standards of what to do. If he says to me, Pat, let's go out, I'm going to bring 10 girls out. Yeah, he's not even going to invite me because he knows I'm not going to go. Yeah. So you're going to invite me for what? By the way, if I'm going to places that I have my kids with me and I'm doing certain things with family, I'm not inviting this guy out. Because he may come out and, say certain things. I got a couple boys, I'm trying to raise them in a certain way. I may be like, nah, you're going to cause a little too much mayhem. And I have certain standards. To me, I watch all these guys, and here's what I like. I had Nick Fuentes on the podcast. I cannot believe you did this. I had Netanyahu. I was the only podcast that we had Netanyahu and Nick Fuentes on within 30 days.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, and by the way, when we had Nick on, Shapiro canceled.
Yeah.
Literally a week later, he canceled. He was supposed to be on the podcast 2 weeks later. And we knew when this was going to happen. I told the team. The only thing for me is I get to choose the standards of where I go out to. Like here, guess what? This is our club. There is no phones here. I don't like phones here. We talked about it this morning. Some people are here to watch this. There are no phones. It's my standard. So that's the part when I watch you. Like yesterday, I'm at the Miami game with, Indiana. What a freaking game it was. I take Dylan out.
I'm dealing with some PTSD.
But let me tell you why. You ready? Let me tell you why. And I'm going to paint a picture for you.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's going to make sense to him. They're singing the national anthem. And then all of a sudden, they cut out to Trump. The place loses their mind, is what it does. Okay? And then comes back out. And then 20 minutes later, they show a video with Obama. The entire place boos. I don't know if you heard. Oh, it was the worst boos I saw in my life when Obama came up. They're going to play this somewhere. Okay? But then there was one part where they showed Trump on the big screen. And guess who's sitting right next to him? Dana White. And Dana goes like this. He's got a Miami Hurricanes shirt on. You belong in that room.
Yeah.
Okay? That's where you belong. To me, when I watch you with the way you communicate, it's going this way. That's the part. And I watch these guys. I was one of them. Even when I had Nick on, I'm like, listen, he was 18 years old when he said some of this stuff. You got to be held accountable for it, but we have to give a chance for people to recreate themselves. It comes to us. It comes to what, Tate's decision is what to do next. And I know, I'm not here to say what you said about Israel, all this other stuff, because you didn't.
I totally understand the point you're making. Totally. Myron's an amazing friend of mine. Doesn't mean I agree with everything he says and does, but he's an amazing friend of mine. He's rode for me when I got in a lot of trouble. I've known him for a very long time. The other two I had never met before. Nick, I believe, had never been to a club before.
Yeah.
If you watch the entire stream, it's a long conversation about me saying, I don't want to go to a club. But Nick's never been to a club before. It's Nick's first ever...
literally never been to a club.
Nick's first ever time. It's Nick's first ever time in a club. You have to come.
That's true.
I saw it in his face.
So I was like, I don't want to come. And then I ended up going.
Yeah.
And clearly it wasn't worth it. But here I am.
Yeah.
So, it's an unfortunate circumstance. I truthfully hope everybody who's offended by it can move past it and understand that no one's out here trying to round anyone up and shoot them in the head. I believe, if you ask me why, I think that there's some streamers who are so obsessed with getting clicks that they don't think ahead. And that's why they did it. And that's why I left.
So I'm with Pat on this, and I'll explain why.
Sure.
Because we had dinner 6 months ago.
Yep.
And we invited Pat.
Yep.
And we shot a video, you and me, Pat, where you at?
And he wouldn't come, you're right.
And I said, Pat's not coming here.
Yeah, you're right.
We sent you the video.
Yeah.
There was no chance, but respectfully, we're going to invite him. I'm a little offended.
I didn't invite you.
No.
Bro, that would have been a video. If I would have had you there, then it would have been.
Here's what I would have done.
That would have been a video.
But here's what I would have done. Let me ask you a very simple question. The night we went out, we had dinner at on top of 11.
Yeah.
Did we not have an amazing night?
Yeah,
Did
we
you
had
get
fun.
in any trouble whatsoever?
No,
brother?
I didn't get in any trouble.
Did we have? Wasn't it a way better night?
Of course.
So.
Are you saying you're a better host than who he was with?
I'm a way
what
better
you're
host
saying?
than Nick Fuentes at the club, dog.
But you know what?
Hear me out.
Guys,
Hear me out.
Nick's funny to me.
Of course. You know how much hate I get from associating with Nick Fuentes because I interviewed the guy?
Yeah.
I got canceled off of TikTok for interviewing Nick Fuentes.
Wow.
In a challenging interview.
Wild.
I got canceled. TikTok. Thanks, China. But here's my point. We eat dinner at Giselle. We go down to 11.
Yeah.
You say to me, hey, bro, amazing night. I got to cut out early. I can't be at the club.
Yeah.
This is at the #1 club, not in Miami, in the world.
Correct.
11.
Correct.
you have the mindset to be like, let me get out of here. You go with guys who don't know anything about Miami, nothing about clubs. You go to some shithole club, Vendome. What Pat is basically saying is, you're better than all this. And that's my opinion. So, final point.
I don't think I'm saying he's better than this.
No, I'm saying this.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
I am saying that Tate
I'm saying what's his...
Yes.
He belongs in a... And this is a conversation we had 3 years ago, 2 years ago, when, that's between he and I. But I'm saying he belongs in a bigger room.
I fully agree with you.
What to do to get into those rooms, because impact can be bigger. And by the way, I invite, and I want you to finish your thought, because I think what you're saying is, if you come into Miami, call me, I'm going to be a better host. I know the good places. I know. And by the way, as much as I'm teasing you, I'm agreeing with you, because you know the places in Miami. And the guys, you're connected with everybody. All I'm saying is a very different message. My message is, what's the next room to get into and solve for that? That's all it is. And by the way, you know what's crazy about it? Myron Games, I invited him over to the office 6 months ago. This is a meeting Myron and I had. It's no one's business. Myron knows what conversation I had with him. I sat him down and I said, Myron, he came with his dog. It was so funny. Everyone's like, why is there a dog in the office? I said, I don't know. He walks with a dog. It's okay. Bring the dog. And I sat him and I said, you know how great of a communicator you are? You would make such a better point if you chose to do X, Y, Z. This was the conversation we had with Myron, because I see him as such a talent. Same thing with Nick. I think you are the leader of this crew, and everyone knows it. You're the leader of all of these guys. They all follow your lead. And by the way, I even saw a clip, I think the Nicholas guy was calling you out in a clip a few weeks ago. I can't believe
Nick who?
Who's Sneeko?
Yeah, Sneeko. He was calling you out on a couple things.
Sneeko does loads of clips insulting me all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I completely understand what you're saying.
But that's okay. I just think they're supposed to do that, because if the leader at the top chooses to go here, these guys have to choose to lead, and those who don't follow his lead, they bash him. It's a very normal state of how the process goes.
Myron's an amazing friend of mine. He's never insulted me, to my knowledge. I think Nick Fuentes has said some things negative about me in the past, but now we get along. I think Clav said some negative things about me, but it's the first time I met him. I know Sneeko said endless negative things about me over and over again because it gets him clicks. I landed in Miami. It was the first time to meet Nick and Clav. The guys came along. If you would have told me, Andrew, if you go to the club, a international incident is going to take place, of course I wouldn't have gone. I sat there. I don't go to clubs. I don't like clubs. There was a long conversation about being Nick's first day in the club, and I truthfully, perhaps in my ignorance, thought that I could go to a club for 15 minutes without having a mess. And I was wrong. So here it is.
By the way, I don't have any critique of you other than it was a poor decision, because I agree with Pat. You are a leader, and you're leading these knuckleheads into stupid decisions. We're moving on from that. Here's what I do want to say. 24 hours later, this is so funny, I'm getting calls from all these guys. I come over to Eric's house. I'm having for dinner the leftovers from the night before from Prime 1. You hungry? Yeah, whatever. Your food. Typical Jews. They're like, you want a drink? I'm drinking Blue Label with Tristan. And I'm, guys, what's going on here? Like, you're calling me to get my feedback. I didn't call you guys, what up, bro? Can I eat your leftovers?
What's your point?
So here's my point, Pat. I want to say something. In 24 hours, the world changed, not the world changed, the situation changed. I do want to say one thing, and I want to validate everything you're saying, because the whole thing was, who done it? Who played the song? In my opinion, it was Sneeko. I'll let him speak for himself. I do think Myron is your friend, and you have no idea how much respect I have for you when you can throw him under the bus right now and you don't. Respect.
I'm not going to do I can't.
Sneeko, I have zero idea why some guy that talks crap about you for a living, brother, you still would associate with. That's your call. You know who I love? You know who I love? And no matter what he does, I'll say that's my dog, Justin Waller.
Yeah, 100%.
The reason that I came...
Justin's the man.
The reason I came to the house, he was my first text. I said, Waller, what's going on? You know, he goes, Saz, let me explain what happened. Let's go. He goes, what kind of music you think I listen to? I go,
watch the stream. We were playing country music.
You're a country music dude.
Of course.
So he sends me the video. Tristan could be James Bond.
Yeah.
He's a little stressed out. He's like, bro, I want to come to Miami.
Tristan, that could be. He is.
Yeah.
He is James Bond.
He's like, I don't want this in my life. I know you know people. Like, respectfully, like, hook a brother up. I go, I got you. I'm on the phone with the mayor of Miami Beach. What do I tell you? Hey, sir, I'll call you right back. 1 minute. Yeah. You're putting Dylan to bed. I tell the mayor, hey, I got to talk to Pat because he actually pays my bills. You don't. Yeah. You collect my taxes on me. Yeah. Like,
you robbed me.
Yeah, you robbed me. He pays me. So, respectfully, Mr. Mayor, respect, whatever. He's saying, dude, I don't know this song.
Yeah.
I'm a country guy. And I see you walk out of the van, and I'm like, all right, well, the song was on for 10 seconds. Sneeko, I guess, is so broke that he's not even paying for the ad-free thing. They're playing commercials.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
But here's what he said, and I want to give you a chance. He did validate everything you're saying. The reason you went is because Nick Fuentes, virgin, never been to a club, a virgin and a literal club virgin. You wanted to see him be basically like dance monkey in the club, so to speak. And I actually understand that. But when you show up to a club with the Nazi Avengers, Nick Fuentes, Myron Gaines, Sneeko, you're going to get looped into this, and whose head's going to roll first? Well, not some cloud kid nobody's heard of. Andrew Tate. You're the leader.
I understand.
I'm fine. Not to cut you off. And I know you guys said, like, he's not choosing to be their leader. You are a leader, and they are, like, looking up to you. So it's not like
you're
choosing to be like, yo, I'm in charge of you guys.
This kid shouldn't be in the club. He's 20. That's another conversation.
Yeah.
He's meeting you for the first time. You're his idol.
I understand the point you're making. And you know what? Sneeko has insulted me endless times, especially across the last 4 years. I haven't seen him in years and years and years. But maybe it's the man code in me. He's insulted me so many times, and I could sit here and throw him under the bus, but it's just not who I am as a person. I want to meet Nick and Clav. It's Clav and Nick who reached out to me. You're in America. We've never met before. Come through. We're with Sneeko. Is that okay? My reply was, Sneeko always has some crybaby issue with me. If he's not going to cry his eyes out, he can come. And he came along, and he made a fucking mess. And I could sit here and blame it all on him. But that's truthfully not, I don't know. That just feels wrong to me. I'm not going to sit here and say who else it was. I'm just going to say I didn't do it. I'm just going to say that I didn't play the song. I don't find the song funny. I didn't think it was appropriate to do. It's someone else's decision. We can drag him up here and we can ask him why he did it. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps when they said Nick's never been to a club before, I should have thought, Nick's never been to a club before. It's the first time I've ever met him. It might be a funny story. I haven't been in America in a year. You know what? I'm bored. I don't even like clubs, but I'm in Miami. Maybe I should go for 15 minutes. Perhaps that was the wrong decision. Perhaps it was. Perhaps I should have known better. But I went, and here we are.
Did Nick at least have a good time?
He said he didn't hate it, which I guess.
And I did see somebody go, hey, I forgot who it was, Nicholas or one of those guys, like, hey, I got some girls, and he's like, no, I'm good. I don't want the girls.
I don't like girls. He's definitely not gay.
No.
He said he didn't hate it. I did hate it because clubs suck. Yeah, but it was Nick's first club night. I'm in Miami. I was like, fuck it.
That club sucks.
Okay, yeah.
Wasn't the club I took you to the dopest thing?
Well, that's true.
Shout out to 11.
That's true.
Shout out to Liv.
And you know what? I guess, I mean, if I were the kind of person to throw people under the bus, if I was that guy, then it would be for me to sit here and say people who understand the Miami scene better must understand the kind of reaction that would get. I don't live here. I could take you guys to clubs in Romania, and there's songs we could play that would get us stabbed outside. Yeah. You wouldn't even understand the fucking words.
Vinny and I try to go to the club.
But so I'm in Romania. It's my territory. If I put on a song that's going to get you guys literally in trouble and put you on the news, then I guess that's on me. Yeah. I obviously speak English. I know what the song says. I know what the song means, of course. But I guess people who live here understand how sensitive the Miami scene is more than I do. I don't live here. I'm just here. It's my second day in Miami. It's a first club night with Nick, who's one of the most influential and most well-known people on the planet, whether anyone likes it or not. Mm-hmm. And I went. So perhaps that was a bad decision. Perhaps it was a bad decision. I'm going to sit here and say, obviously it was not the best decision in the world. But here it is. It's done. If anybody in the Jewish community genuinely believes I want to run around and put them in a fucking concentration camp and not understand that I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time while someone played a stupid song, then unfortunately, I mean, I'm happy to sit down and talk to anybody.
By the way, and I'm not the person to speak for the Jewish community, 100% I'm agreeing with Tate on this. So for any Jew that's like, no, he's not. Look at us. What I want to ask Pat what he would do. Because I totally respect the whole Myron thing. I text Myron. I go, dude, you're going viral. He goes, this is at 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
What I do, bro, I just woke up. I didn't respond. Good luck. I don't communicate with Sneeko. I dap him up if I see him at an Aiden Ross event or whatever. Nick Fuentes.
Well, Sneeko will be insulting me again by next week. That's what Sneeko does. He just back and forth.
But that's my question to Pat. And he'll probably validate and agree with me why you wouldn't want to throw a genuine friend under the bus. But Sneeko's not your friend, bro.
No, he's not my friend.
What would you do if in this situation where you have someone, because in my opinion, those are the two biggest culprits, Sneeko and Myron. This and playing the song, and everyone else is just around. What would you do with Myron if you're him? And what would you do with Sneeko, who's clearly not his friend?
I think he knows. I've already shared but here's the thing with Tate. Tate is a 39-year-old grown man with a lot of life experiences. And the codes, certain codes I have with men and women that I talk about, hey, if this is your girl, here's what you do, here's how we do things when we're going out, family, respect. If his sister, let's just say, he says, hey, Pat, my sister's going to come hang out. I'm treating his sister like my sister. Nobody touches her. I'm protecting her.
Yep.
Nobody can do it. There's certain things that I follow. No, I think, look, Adam, you're 46 years old. And you're
45.
Okay, whatever.
Let's not do this. Because I'll round down to 44.
All right. So let's just say you're in your mid 40s, right?
Fair.
Okay. All right. You're in mid 40s, 46. Let's just say you're in your mid 40s. Okay.
But next thing you know, it'll be 65.
Yeah, you will. It's going to happen real quick. But
then he just turned 60.
But even I tell you, I'm like, look, think about, who are the men you respect the most? Mm-hmm. That's how this question goes.
Yeah.
Make a list of which men you respect the most. Okay, who's on that list? Let's just say you say Trump. Okay, great. Let's say you say, Dana, or maybe you say, I don't know what names you say. Everybody says different names that they say, right? Okay, great. What is the pattern? What is their life? I know you just talked, but you haven't drank for 4 years.
Correct.
No alcohol for 4 years.
I wasn't drunk that night. Didn't have a drop.
Yeah, that's amazing to say you haven't drank for 4 years, right?
Even the night we went out, you had 0 drinks.
Don't drink.
I remember.
But I think the part is modeling. Who do you want to model? What's the next phase of life? And you make the choice and you move on. I've never met, Nicholas guy. I've never met him. Good-looking guy, well-spoken, intensity. I don't know his background. I don't know what happened with his family. I don't know why he is the way he is. But it pays today to be allowed. There's an economy for being allowed. But I want to get away from this.
Can I answer your one question?
Which
you
one?
Asked who I respect. There's only one name, and that's you. Because you know the conversations that we've had behind closed doors. I'm tearing up here. If I never met you, what would I be doing now? I'd still be out in the club with Adrian. You know this conversation, right? How much did you change this guy's life? We just joked the first time that he came out in Miami. This kid was a maniac.
Now I'm 3 years sober.
Maniac.
Amazing.
Yep.
I told him I can't ever bring him out in the club again in Miami. Trying to fight my best friend.
Amazing. And that's beautiful. And that's Pat's legacy.
But hear me out. We're so grateful that we're here.
Of course.
There's nobody, a person on my list. This conversation we had in the car on the way to Dylan's baseball game. What's the word in the book to cut off?
Ostracize?
Decide is to cut off.
To decide. I made a decision recently. You know this.
Yeah.
So, you know how easy it is for me to be a 50-year-old guy in the club in Miami? I could do that like that. Yeah. Free drinks, bottles, 11, this. But I don't want to be that guy. I want to have kids, and I know how you feel about kids.
Yep.
And I know how Tristan feels about kids.
Yep.
We probably spent 2 hours talking about kids.
Yep.
Justin Waller, you know this.
Yep.
So I look at him and I say, damn.
Yeah.
What do I want to do? I'm 45, Pat. But I'm going to be 65. Do I want to have kids or not? Do I want to have family or not?
Yeah.
So to me, this comes down to one thing. Dude, whether you like it or not, homie, you're a leader and a boss for a generation of kids. Kids.
I understand.
This kid, Clav, not that I want to give him...
Braden.
Whatever. He's a 20-year-old kid.
Yes.
He's mogging whatever this is.
Smashing his face,
here's
taking
a kid
steroids,
who's 20
doing
years
drugs
old.
at 20.
But if a 20-year-old girl did this, Kylie Jenner, lip injections, titties, we know what's going on with women. Because I'm so grateful because of you. Because of you, I know this kid. I say, dudes are doing this. Dudes are getting fake titties now, basically.
Yep.
Cutting their face, flogging, mogging. The reason I'm 10 minutes late today is because I was mogging. I wanted to look good for you on camera. One of the out alpha, the top G.
I see the bruise.
I see the bruise.
See? No, I feel this.
I see it. I feel it.
But the point is, thank God that I have him in my ear and not Moggy McGee out here.
Yep.
And that's,
listen,
that's
guys,
if there's one thing I could say, is I have so much respect for you, and I think so many people do, that you should be in that room with a Trump and a Dana White. Instead, you're in a club with Moggy McGee, Nick Fuentes, and Sneeko in a shitty club in Miami.
I totally understand. And I'm not here to make excuses for my actions. I was here in Miami. I wanted to meet Nick. Nick was with Clav. They asked if Sneeko could come. I said, Sneeko insults me all the time. Sneeko came here. Even though all he does is insult me, I'm still not going to throw him under the bus. Myron's an amazing friend of mine. I didn't want to go to the club. I said, I don't want to go. I said, this is bullshit. They said it's Nick's first ever time. And I truthfully believed I could get in and out of this dump in 15 minutes without an international incident.
You can't.
And I would, of course not.
You know this now.
I've learned.
But how did you not know that already? I've learned.
So I've learned my lesson. You know, I'm not a perfect person. Hindsight is 20/20. I should not have gone to the club. I should have stuck to what I was saying for the first 10 minutes. I don't want to go. But when perhaps even maybe, and I'm sure he's going to say no chance, perhaps even maybe, if they were to say this is Nick Fuentes' first ever time in a nightclub ever in his life, perhaps other people who don't normally go to clubs would have thought, you know what, for 5 minutes, let me go. Perhaps.
I just have one last question on this topic.
Sure.
Did Nick at least lose his virginity that night?
I have no idea. But Nick and Myron and Sneeko and Clav, they can all come here and defend themselves. And even though Sneeko's insulted me 1 trillion times, and even though he put the song on, I just don't think it's prudent for me to sit up here and throw him under the bus. Even though, you know, maybe I should. Maybe most people in my position would say, Sneeko's insulted me a whole bunch of times. He's going to insult me again next week. That's all he ever does is flip-flop. I didn't even want him there. He got invited by the other guys. He put the song on. He got me in trouble. Perhaps I should sit here and just blame some other dude. But what I'm actually just going to do is tell my side of the story. My side of the story is that I wanted to speak to Nick. I wanted to speak to Nick.
Show me your friends. I'll show you your future. You deserve better.
Let's move on. Is there long-term plans, Tate, of wanting to live in Miami, wanting to live in Florida?
So here's the story of Miami. Last time I came here, I don't know if you remember, I caught a criminal case for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I thought this was America. But it turns out, you know, communism was alive here in Florida just the same. Show me the man and I'll find the crime. And DeSantis and his little girlfriend, the AG, I have no idea if he's even still in power, decided to investigate me for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I expected a hero's welcome. And I have yet to give the 1.5 hour story of what actually happened to me. Nobody actually understands what has happened to me yet. And it takes 1.5 hours for me to explain from start to finish. But let me make it very, very quick for everybody at home so they understand. I was deemed a national security threat by the British state. I was the most Googled man on the planet. And they said I had so much control over the young men inside of the UK. They said I was an unchecked source of influence. And there was an intelligence operation specifically designed to dampen my influence. I have the paperwork. I have the chronology. I have all of the proof that I was set up by a sovereign state. The Brits hit me with all of this crap from start to finish. So when I finally escaped detention without a conviction, after 4 years of being locked in jail and in my house, and return home to America, the country my father served for, the country I was born in, I expected a hero's welcome. And what did I walk into? I walked into a crock of shit from DeSantis and his little fucking girlfriend, saying that I'm not welcome even though I'm a citizen, and that I'm a bad person even though I'm not convicted, and that I'm going to be investigated. And I'm quite glad they investigated me, because let me tell you something. You're not going to meet another person on the street who's been investigated more than me. I've been through more investigations by more different agencies than anybody else you're probably ever going to meet. And here I am free talking to you. So they dampened and destroyed and completely ruined my first experience in Florida. Those clowns did, for no reason, to an American citizen who should have got a hero's welcome after being detained in the most corrupt country in Europe. I hate to get angry about this, but it destroyed 4 years of my life. Let me ask, Since when does anybody, with all due respect, give a fuck about what the Romanians say? The Romanians said, it's corrupt. Who cares what the Romanians said? If you were to tell me the Romanians said that he did this, it was like, the Romanians said, who gives a shit what they say?
Is that where Dracula's from?
We have problems with corruption in the American system. We're talking about the poorest country in Europe. It's absolutely insane what happened to me. And when I finally give you the 1.5 hour rendition with the paperwork, with the proof that I was set up by the British state specifically to damage my influence over young men, that they knew I was innocent. That's the reason Romanians have let me go. Where's my trial? I've yet to be fucking charged with anything. My life was completely wrecked. All because I became the most Googled man in the world and wasn't saying the things they want me to say. Completely wrecked. I land here, DeSantis and his fucking girlfriend ruin it. And I leave, and I go to a country where I'm finally treated with respect. I went to Dubai. Every single person in the UAE, at every single level of power, says the same thing to me. It is completely unfair what happened to you, and I cannot believe what the people in Florida did to you when you got free. Everybody says it. At the top, all the way to the bottom. Florida completely destroyed its entire reputation with this garbage. They did. And internationally, it is spoken about. I just went to a meeting in the Bahamas. I had to do some banking and move some money around. And I sat there with Tristan and said, it would be nice to go see Justin in Miami. It'd be nice to go see the guys in Miami. It'd be nice to do PBD. And he said, if we go there, DeSantis and his girlfriend are going to arrest us. And I said, for what? We haven't done anything. He goes, it doesn't matter. It's a matrix attack. And we sat there and thought, you know what? Fuck them. And we came. I landed here expecting to be arrested. Isn't that crazy? As an American citizen who's never done anything wrong, never been convicted of any crime in his life anywhere, never even lived in Florida, I've been here 3 times in my life, that I'm afraid to come back to a city because I'm looking at bullshit, made-up charges from people trying to score political points on fucking Twitter. I thought this country was free. So I flew here, and it turns out they didn't arrest me. Do you know why? Because they ain't got shit. Because I haven't fucking done anything. And I am truly, from the bottom, if you want to talk about this nightclub incident, I am truly tired of the amount of heat that is constantly on my head and the amount of pressure that's constantly on my back. Sure, I'm a man. Sure, I can deal with it, of course. I don't like the fact that I can't take a piss without an international incident. I don't like this. I don't like that I finally get back to Miami. I make the brave choice to come here looking at a possible arrest. And then I think, okay, I'm doing a stream with guys I've never met before. It turns out to be the biggest stream on the internet at the time with hundreds of thousands of viewers. It's Nick's first time in a club. Let me go. It's his first time. Don't be the boring old man, Andrew. It's only 10 minutes. Go. And all this bullshit happens. I don't like all this constant and endless bullshit. So, of course, I'm sitting there in hindsight going, oh, for fuck's sake, wish that didn't happen, wish that didn't happen. But I also didn't see when I left Romania and landed here, I'd be wrecked by those clowns. So to answer the question, do I want to live in America? Yes, I'm an American. But the power structures here are so decentralized. I'm in Kamala Harris's book. Read it, 107 days, page 176. I lost the election because people changed the young men's vote. The young men went so right-wing because of people like Andrew Tate. Kamala says, I'm one of the reasons Trump won. I know the Trump team like me. I know the Trump family like me. But I land here and some state clowns are going to wreck my life. The power here is so decentralized. I don't feel safe here. I don't get how anything works. Trump is supposed to be the boss. He can't even pass a law without some dickhead judge ruining it. I don't understand what's going on in America anymore. So I feel safe in the UAE because I know who the boss is.
Didn't the Trump administration have a couple people that came to your defense and helped nothing happen to you? Because I think there was something going on there as well.
You mean to my defense with the Romania case?
No, with the Florida case.
I have no idea. I don't know. What I do know is that I'm at this stage in my life now where the threats are empty. Investigate me. Shoot me. Arrest me. Put me in jail. Like, if you think you can build a case, go. You look at all the crap the AG said of Florida. You look at how he ran his mouth on the news, all the stupid tweets he made. How you telling me he didn't try his absolute best to get me? Of course he did. He wrote to the Brits. He wrote to the Romanians. He was asking for information from everybody. He was trying his absolute best to get me, and he can't even fucking arrest me for questioning. Clown show. So do I want to live in America and Miami? Yes, but I don't want to live in a clown show. I don't want to live in this mess where power is so decentralized. And unfortunately for me, I score so many political points, either right or left, that my life is just thrown into the limbo like, well, this is good for my career wrecking.
You know what?
This is crazy.
Say, Tate, somebody could say, if you go to Dubai, do you play by Dubai's rules?
Okay, but what are the rules of America, sir? Because I thought we had free speech. Clearly, we don't.
I get that, but I'm talking about the rules of Dubai. When you go to Dubai, do you play by Dubai's
100%.
rules?
So what are the rules of America?
Well, let me kind of go to where I'm going with this. This whole thing of what you can and can't say opinion-wise that DeSantis and his camp in Florida is trying to pass, I'm not part of that community. People need to be able to debate out anything. Whatever you want, you got to be able to debate it out. But also, if you're wanting to come to Florida, right, and you know, like certain, culture is going to be in a certain way, you either say, I want to come here. You can't say, you guys better change or else I'm not coming. No. This is Florida.
I'm not telling anyone to change. I'm answering the question of, do I have a plan to live in Miami? And what I'm saying is, I was so disappointed by what DeSantis and his girlfriend did to me when I landed here that I've learned that, truthfully, the American system doesn't support free speech, and it doesn't support the idea you're innocent until you're convicted. It doesn't support any of the things it pretends to support. The system here is complete clown show. It's a joke. Well, after what they did to me, truthfully, no, I don't see myself ever.
But it didn't work, though.
Of course it didn't work. But why should I come here and buy a $20 million property knowing there's an AG sitting there trying to put me in jail so he can get Twitter followers? That's bullshit.
AG's been trying to put Trump in jail for a while.
Exactly. It's a joke. This whole thing is stupid. I truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, am heartbroken for the state of America. I think this is crazy. We have the best president we could ever possibly hope for. And still, we have this kind of garbage and decentralized attacks and random judges. A random AG in Alabama can type up some crap and ruin my life right now. I don't feel safe in this country. I don't feel safe here. And I don't feel safe here not because I've done anything wrong, not because I'm convicted of crimes. I don't feel safe here because I'm a scalp. I'm a scalp and everyone wants my head on the wall. And I like to go to places and live in places and invest my money in places where very important, powerful people who understand the world say, yes, you're too big to exist in a system that is so decentralized. There's going to be too many people inside of that system who want your head. And on a long enough time frame, especially with a 4-year cycle where everything can change, they're going to get your head. You need to live somewhere with stability, sir. And I'm going to say thank you very much. Let me plan for the next 20 years with me and my children, and let me build some towers. America's a joke now. America's falling apart. And I'm not saying that happily. I'm an American. What I'm saying is there's a very strong chance in the next 3 years that psychopaths get back in the house. You think me with a $25 million mansion in Miami, I'm going to survive the Dems coming back? I don't stand a hope. And not because I've done anything wrong. Everyone's out to get me. Everyone's out to get me. So what am I supposed to do? Right? As well as, we can also add into the fact that if I want to be pessimistic and argue that the Western Hemisphere is collapsing in real time, America's certainly not as bad as Europe. And I will actually argue that the Venezuela operation was fantastic for American soft power. I actually think that put America back on the map. I think the Venezuelan operation saved America for at least 5 more years. But in general, as the quality of life in Western countries declines, and we can all argue that it probably is, I'll ask you, 2016 to 2025, the amount of money that has been printed by the American government, the amount the GDP of this country has increased in the last 10 years, if you were to actually look at the number on a piece of paper, it's hard to even fathom. It's incalculable amounts of money. It's trillions of dollars. Does America feel richer to you? Does it look richer to you? We've printed trillions of dollars in 10 years, and the country looks worse than ever. I come here for the first time in ever. The infrastructure is crap. The traffic's out of control. It's a mess. I live in the UAE where they have no taxes and everything works perfectly. Here I'm giving half my money away. So we're getting richer on paper. The whole place is falling apart. The Western world in real time is falling apart. I think the whole world is falling apart. If I put my hands together and do this, I can feel the fire of the world burning. And my theory is that as we have a collapse and an implosion of the way of life we've always known, as laws stop functioning, because we're at the limit of law in America. We're at the absolute upper limit of what law can fix and tolerate. Look at Minnesota. Law isn't working. Police aren't working. The system isn't working. People are getting arrested for things and no one's going to jail, or they're making bail, or they're going to jail and getting out 25 times, murdering people. The cracks that already exist in a society are going to become much larger than cracks. They're going to become rivers, fissures. And American society is already on the edge between races, Republican and Democrats, between men and women. Everyone here hates each other. And as things implode, I don't see a civil war in other places in the world because the cracks are not as large. This place is teetering on the edge of violence all of the time. It's crazy. So to answer your question, sorry to be so impassioned, I love Miami. I'm an American. I love you guys. My best friends live here. I, besides the nightclub, have a nice time here. It's a great place. I would love to buy a big fat house and a boat and enjoy myself here. I don't feel safe in this country anymore. People want to kill me for my watch. The government want me in jail, or some of them do for their careers. Women want to lie about me for fucking payday. What am I supposed to do here? What life am I supposed to have? Walk around with 20 bodyguards and guns? It is a shame that America's become such a mess that I can't live here. What I can do is visit for a week or two and hope to get out without an indictment. And it's crazy. And that's a failure of America. That's not a failure of me. I'm not doing anything. I don't drink. I don't take drugs. I don't take steroids. I sit on my laptop. And I made the biggest mistake in the world, which is go to a nightclub for the first time in years for 15 minutes. I can't fucking piss without catching a case. So no, I can't live here.
Can I, may I please?
Of course.
I'm going to break this down. You're such a good speaker that I have to process what you're saying, agree, and then filter out the bullshit.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
No, absolutely.
You're so good, and I've sat with you for hours.
Thanks.
I'm like, Tate, yes, no, yes.
Let's hear the bullshit. Let's hear the bullshit.
Has the world come against you? Has the world gone crazy? Have you been debanked, deplatformed, come against you? I don't believe you're guilty of anything.
Of course.
Other than being a loudmouth, biracial, somewhat racist. And that's why I love you.
Somewhat, yeah.
But America, and let me be super clear, is still the greatest country in the world, and it is always going to be the greatest country in the world, and we still have problems like crazy. You want to go back to the UK?
Of course not.
Hell no.
Of course not.
Hell no. Look at your boy Tommy Robinson.
England's done.
So what did your boy Winston Churchill say? Your boy. Democracy is the greatest form of government except for all the other governments that have been tried. So I'll ask you this.
Understand.
You want to go back to the UK and live under a sham democracy, communism?
Of course not.
You want to go live under Sharia law in Iran?
I understand.
Hell no.
Listen.
So yes, I understand America has problems.
Yep.
But you're coming into the wrong room to play the America's bad victim card.
I'm not playing the America's bad. What I'm trying to do, America's not bad, and I'm an American. What I'm trying to explain is for my own personal scenario, my own personal situation, I'm trying to optimize for stability. Now, it is true. America, one of the best things about it is if the government turns against you, as DeSantis and his girlfriend did, you do stand a chance of beating it. I'm very aware that if the government of the UAE turn against me, I'm not going to win in court. I'm not stupid. I understand that. But also, we have to sit now and have a discussion as rational adults in a collapsing world as to why CZ from Binance, Pavel from Telegram, Ray Dalio just did it, why most of the world's wealth is going to the most stable country in the world, the UAE. And it is because there's none of this decentralization of power. There's a lot of other very powerful people who say the same thing as me. You can't trust America. Some AG in Alabama is going to wreck your life. You can't be there. You have to be here. It's stable. And I'm not the only person who's saying that. I'm sitting with other billionaires, American billionaires saying that. I would love to live in America, guys. I'd love to be with you guys every single day. I would. And I'm not here trying to clown America or insult America, but America has really big problems. And for me personally, it's hard to feel safe here.
Let me just say one quick response. Dude, if I'm you, I think the exact same way. Everyone I talk to that goes to UAE says it's amazing, it's incredible. We have one guy in BDC.
Thanks.
They call him
You're a man.
like sexual chocolate Dubai. Like he loves it there. So, go ahead, you got to fix that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
What you're saying is true, and the rest of the world should wake up. And that's in the most chaotic region of the world.
Yep.
There's a little country called Dubai or called UAE that's actually doing it right.
Yep.
So this is why when people take the Islamic extremism, I go, well, that's not everywhere. They actually have a peace agreement with Israel.
Yep.
The two probably most stable countries
That's true.
in the Middle East.
That's true.
Whether you like Israel or not.
There's Jews all in Dubai.
There's Israel and Dubai
Yeah.
because it's GDP, not GDT. Gross domestic product, not gross domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
So you're bringing a valid point about Dubai, and I need to go there. So hopefully we can go. Here's my question. Could you say what you're saying, criticizing UAE, if you felt this way?
Absolutely not.
that's why America's number one.
If I felt that way. So here's the important thing to understand. I am not delusional as to the idea that UAE is not a free country. Of course not. But luckily for me, all of their views align with my views. So the things I'm not allowed to say are things I don't want to say. So luckily, I don't feel the constriction. But you're completely right in regards to, I can't criticize the government in the UAE, not from the UAE, that is true. And I'm not saying it's a perfect country, and I'm not saying they do absolutely everything right either. What I'm saying is I'm trying to optimize my life, personally, just so everyone here understands me, so that I can raise my children and stay out of jail. And the chance of me going to jail here is 1,000 times higher than there because of the decentralization of power and the fact that I'm a scalp. That's the bottom line of it. And that's why it's very difficult for me to invest money in America. As American as I feel, as American as I want to be, I would love to live in Miami, guys. I'm just answering the question and explaining why I don't feel safe to do it and why many other very prominently rich, well-known people don't feel safe to do it. I sit with CZ, Pavel, I sit with billionaires who all say the same thing. America's a war zone. You're not safe there. In a few years, the Dems might win. You can't invest there. And people are saying you can't trust America across the next 20 years. And if you're going to make a 20-year investment, you're looking for stability. So I love America.
I am so optimistic about the future with America. I can't even describe it to you. Having said
Please,
that,
I'd love correct me and I'll buy a house today.
No, well,
let's go. I want to live here.
I got a good realtor for you.
I will tell
He's
you.
a Jewish guy, man.
No, but I will tell you. I will tell you also who I may not recommend to want to live in America, and I may say, this isn't a place for you. For example, I don't belong in LA, and I get it. I don't belong in LA. I'm talking to a bishop the other day from the Syrian community. We're having a conversation about potentially putting in a Syrian leadership event together and hosted by us at the hangar here. And I said, how often you come to LA? Once a year. Why is that? I don't agree with the lifestyle of LA. How they raise their kids, how they, and not the people that are living there. I'm talking the standards by Newsom, the government, all of that, taxes, small business owners, regulation, 1099, W-2. I can list 50 reasons why I can't live in the state of California, period. And they just did their gerrymandering that now it's going to be the Congress in California is 52 congressmen and women they have. Do you know after this recent gerrymandering, it's going to be 48 Democrats, 4 Republicans. Wow. You know what that compares to? That compares to Venezuela. Wow. That compares to Brazil on what the House looks like. So California is becoming a Brazil or a Venezuela, and guess what? The billionaires are leaving. Now, here's the thing. You take all the billionaires in the world, right? There's about, 3,000 billionaires in the world. Of the 3,000 billionaires in the world, 1,300 of them are in America.
Correct.
There's a reason for it. Now, Sergey Brin.
The reason for it, Patrick, and I hate to interrupt, is because here they can buy enough political clout to not go to jail. And I'm not a billionaire like that. It's because they're so entrenched with government that they're above the law. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
And in the UAE, they can't do that.
I don't know about that. I don't know about everybody. I don't know if that's the case with everybody. Like Sergey Brin, they ran Google, okay? Bezos runs Amazon. Musk runs, a bunch of companies.
Yeah, they can't put these people in jail because they're the economy.
But also, they are the economy, but they're also not criminals. They're running companies.
I'm not a criminal, but I'm not the economy.
I didn't say you're saying that. What I'm saying to you is, if you're saying they're avoiding having to go to jail and all this, if you go out there and build a company, build a business, you just have to know, Newsom doesn't like you. And California doesn't like you. They want to put a wealth tax. And guess what? New York doesn't like billionaires. So this Mamdani guy is going to say, screw you. And guess what? Guess what in America you get a chance to do? You got 50 states to choose from.
That's right.
I lived in Texas. And by the way, I will tell you one thing about Texas. I can easily make an argument for Dallas, Texas, for somebody that's planning on being private equity, business, access to money, access to resources. Goldman Sachs is building an 800,000 square foot facility in Dallas. It's going to be their second headquarters, Texas Stock Exchange. There are so many great arguments for Dallas, Texas. So many of them. There's plenty of arguments here. Miami, who's coming here, the wealth, a lot of the billionaires are moving down here. Markets going up. They have to protect themselves. They have to protect the assets. They have to vote accordingly. That's the things that you have here. At the same time, is there a case for UAE coming up? Are you kidding? Of course there is. Is there a case for, Dubai, what they're doing? Of course there is. how many democracies have lasted the longest? They don't. They don't last that long of a time. Right. Monarchies do. You can go look back and see how many monarchies. I think the oldest monarchy, Japan, was 2,600, 2,556. Yeah. Our good friend Curtis Yarvin forced us to know this kind of stuff. We had a week ago or 2 weeks ago. There is risk to democracy. There's risk to democracy. Risk. So if I was to say for you, you also made a couple choices with your lifestyle. You chose to become, when you went to prison and you said the letter, when you guys were together with you and Tristan, which you guys played one of the greatest pranks ever in jail, which I till today.
Christmas movie?
Oh, that is by far
Rush Hour.
Greatest, one of the greatest things these guys did.
That's one of the
that is one of the best ever stories.
You know what Hour, when they bugged our cell and we were talking about Ricky Tan.
Oh, Ricky Tan.
Yeah, but
that was good.
That is hilarious when you guys did that. But to me, when you were in prison and you said, none of my Christian guys will write me letters, but my God, I got a lot of letters from Muslims.
Yeah.
And then you chose to become a Muslim yourself.
Yes.
And you're still practicing? Would you still consider yourself? Yes.
Yes.
Have you thought about leaving and going back to Christianity?
No. And before we get into religion, because that's a long conversation, everything you just said about Newsom, I agree with. Everything you said about New York, I agree with. If I go to California right now, Newsom would love to find any possible excuse to indict me. Of course. That's why you won't do business.
I wouldn't go to California.
Okay, and that's why you won't go Cali. You won't do business in Cali.
I won't.
All right? If I go to New York, Mamdani would love to parade me all over the news, 100%. New York Southern District, and say I'm a human trafficker. Of course he would. But guys, the leader of Florida did the same crap to me. I flew to Florida for a reason. I got out of Romanian detention, looked at the map of America, and thought, Florida's based, and they proved that they're not. DeSantis proved he's a punk.
And they failed.
And his girlfriend. And they failed. But that doesn't matter. I should not have to live in a hostile environment where I'm constantly and endlessly investigated and followed for no reason. And I don't have any reason to do that. If Florida, you guys chose Florida because it's good to you. It ain't good to me. And that breaks my heart. My father served for this country. I have the passport. It breaks my heart that Florida betrayed me as it has and has only ever betrayed me. What am I supposed to do, sir, but live somewhere else? You wouldn't live in Cali for the same reason. I can't live here.
Yeah, but DeSantis doesn't like the way you live.
When DeSantis stands up, I don't care. I'm an American, and I don't owe him shit. And when DeSantis stands up and apologizes to me, when the AG apologizes to me, I'll consider it. And Byron Donalds is a punk, too, because he sold out and went on the news and started talking shit, calling me a human trafficker. I've never been convicted. The point of America, in general, the point of democracy is innocent until proven guilty. If they get quizzed about me, if they stand up on the news and they say, what do you think of Andrew Tate? They have a very easy answer. We live in a democracy. It's innocent until proven guilty. I don't know the specifics of his case. What I know is he is not convicted. They don't have to sell out like punks. They don't have to start saying I'm not welcome here. If the senator or the governor tells me I'm not welcome here, you know what? Then fucking keep it. I'm not a beg. I'm not desperate. And I don't give a shit if Ron DeSantis likes how I live or not. To be honest, I don't care. I'm an American citizen. I came here. I've been convicted of no crimes. And for the same reason you won't live in Cali or Mamdami's New York, I can't live here until these clowns apologize to me.
But you're right.
I'm right. So I'm out of here.
But you're right. But the other part, okay, so do you know right now who in here can choose to sue Adam and say, I really don't like his smug answers, right?
You can.
That's where you're going with
no. What I'm
both dicks.
In this country we're living in, we had a guy that sued Vinny. It's a funny story because of a video we showed, and one of the videos that showed, accidentally a picture of another person was shown. That guy sued for $500,000.
Welcome to America.
To say, and by the way, he sued from Canada.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, he sued from Canada. But you know what happened?
They're not even a country. That's our suit. We're coming for you.
Yeah. Greenland's next. Coming for you, Greenland.
But
America.
Do you know what happened?
What?
Nothing happened.
Of course not.
Yeah, nothing. Anybody can sue anybody, including DeSantis. DeSantis can get up there and say, this guy's a degenerate. He can say anything he wants because he also has freedom of speech.
Patrick.
And then a market can decide.
I understand. But if you were me, you're you.
Yeah.
Right? You're you, and you're in Florida, and Florida makes a lot of sense for you. If you were me, if you got betrayed by the British state, and you were locked up for 4 years in the most corrupt country in Europe, and you get free finally, you don't get a hero's welcome.
Yeah.
Instead, you get a complete clown show.
Yeah.
And then you go to another country where you're treated in a completely different manner, where you're treated with a hero's welcome, where the leadership explained to you that there's too much decentralization of power in the West, and that what is happening to you is always going to happen, and they apologize for it happening, and they thank you for being there, and thank you for investing your money there, and you're in an inner circle with other billionaires who share the exact same sentiment. Would you say, but I really want to live in Florida where they're desperate to put my head on a pike? No, you'd say, enough is enough. I'm going to live somewhere where I'm not treated like a criminal because I'm not a criminal. For the same reason you want to live here, I can't live here. And that breaks my heart. When DeSantis and his girlfriend, standing on stage, holding hands, apologize to me for what they've done, I will buy a house in Miami. But they're not going to. They're going to continue their little shitty political careers after getting a few Twitter followers for trying to ruin my life and lock me up for no reason. Byron Donald sold me out. He's a bitch, too. And when all these punks want to sit around saying my name in a negative light, then keep your fucking place. Keep it. I'm not... what else am I supposed to do? And I really do believe if you were in my position, Patrick, you'd make the exact same choice. If you have wife, you have kids. I have 4 women with 6 children in Dubai. I'm going to bring them all to here. I'm going to bring all my kids. I'm going to buy all these houses and all these things, knowing that everyone's out to get me.
No, I already told you 3 years ago. Dubai is the place for you. If you want to go, the exchange.
But isn't that wrong?
No, it's not. It's the life you're choosing to live.
What's the life I'm choosing to live? Sorry, Patrick. I hate to interrupt, but what's the life I'm choosing to live? My life is cleaner than 99% of people in this city. I'm not having orgies. I'm not swinging. I'm not going to BDSM clubs. I'm not sniffing coke. I'm not drinking alcohol. Walk around Miami. Everyone's doing more than I ever do. I don't do anything. There are people here in this free country living lives far more degenerate than anything I do. I sit on the internet with opinions. I sit on my laptop and I go to the gym. That's it. You can go to Miami right now. We can go and find a swingers club and find gay men or 10 men fucking one chick high out of their minds on ketamine. No, DeSantis has no problem with that. So it really isn't my lifestyle. It isn't the life I'm choosing to live at all. Unfortunately for me, there's a target on my back. That's what it is. So I need to be somewhere where the leadership understands the world well enough so that people high up, prominent, number 2 or number 3 in the country, vice president level, come to my house and say, it's unfair what is happening to you. That's why the West is collapsing in real time. That's why we're going to be the richest nation on earth, because nobody's money's safe anywhere else. You're welcome here, sir. That's where I should live.
PBD, I'm with Tate on this, and I'll explain why. I'm not with you 100% though.
I love America. I'm going to give
you 99%.
But I love America.
And
I love America.
I'm going to give you brotherly advice.
Sure.
I think you've been wronged.
Yep.
I think that you sound like a man who's guilty. A man who's guilty would be like, well, you got to understand, a man who's innocent.
A man who's guilty wouldn't come back here like I'm sitting here right now.
A man who's guilty would not be talking trash to the governor and everybody and calling his AG his girlfriend.
I disagree.
So no,
I think that's what an innocent man does. Investigate me. Come arrest me right now. I'm on the PBD podcast. Come get me.
That's my point.
Come get me.
You sound like you're an innocent man. That's my opinion.
Of course.
You don't sound like a guilty man. A guilty man wouldn't talk like that. A guilty man wouldn't have this much swag and confidence and say, come and get me. We saw how that worked out with Maduro. Come and get me. Oh, we got you, Moselka.
Of course.
Okay. So you also, in a little bit, get more with honey than with vinegar. By the way, can I get a little honey for the tea? If it's okay? Here's the challenge you're going to run into with the UAE. And I do agree with PBD that that's the place for Tate. But you're an American citizen.
Of course.
Here's the challenge you're going to run into, and it has to do with the justice system. Because there's anybody that's been wronged by the justice system, it's the guy sitting to my right. So one of the top guys of the UAE, whatever you want to call him, he says, UAE's great, America's great, UAE's got this, America's got this. The one challenge we have here, he said this, is America has 2 political parties.
Correct.
In the UAE, we have 1 political party.
It's not even a political party, it's a family.
It's a family. Meaning, if you even step out of line for 1 second.
Agreed.
If you think the Justice Department is bad here in the United States or in Romania, you got another thing coming to the UAE.
I'm very aware of this.
Who likes to be able to say and do whatever he wants to do, good luck saying one bad thing about UAE. And I agree. Why would you say anything bad? But when that day comes, what Justice Department would you rather live under? Think about this.
No, you're right.
The American justice system or UAE's?
You're 100% right. And I also want to actually clarify something. I don't actually want to say or do whatever I want. I actually don't. There's a lot of things I don't say, and there's a lot of things I don't do that I want to do. That's not the case. And you're completely right. And I think I said myself earlier, the fact that a governor said my name and I'm not in jail would never happen in many other countries. I completely understand all of that. What I'm saying, just for my peace of mind, and perhaps I get so animated because perhaps I have PTSD. Who knows?
You do.
But I've been sitting for 4 years expecting to be arrested at any random second in my life. When someone says, let's make a plan for next week, I'm like, message me on the morning. I can't plan for a week. Message me Monday morning. Patrick, how hard is it to make a schedule with me? I'm like, change. I work in 2-day increments.
Yeah.
And this is how my brain is. And what I'm just saying, and perhaps it's not logical, I am open enough and smart enough to admit that perhaps I'm being emotional. But I don't feel safe here. And I'm not saying that because I hate America. I'm saying it's sad because I love America.
Yeah.
I battled for Trump harder than anyone.
Yep.
I love America. I love the idea of American power. I'm constantly supporting the American empire. I'm not one of these people who's an accelerationist. I don't think the world's going to be a better place when America finally loses its power and China or Russia's in charge. I don't think the world's going to be better when America can't do what it's currently doing, which is turn up with Blackhawks and kidnaps. I think that's America. I'm all for American power. Take Greenland, take Canada, completely. Completely. I love America.
Go for America.
What I'm saying is, I truly believe if any of you were in the same position as me, when you first land in Florida and that crap hits you, your heart's gonna break. And my heart broke.
Yep.
My heart broke. My wife cheated on me. And until I get a sorry or a promise it's not gonna happen again, we're not getting back together. That's what happened to me. My heart broke. And when I came here to the podcast with you guys, I said, I cannot believe what they're doing to me. My heart's broken. And you know what? I understand he's a governor, and I understand he's a AG. I understand he can't come on the news and say sorry to me. I'm being animated. But you know what they could do? You know what they could do as a bare minimum? Perhaps you guys agree with me. We've concluded our investigation and found nothing. Can't they issue a statement saying that we investigated him unfairly for no reason and found zero? Can't they just at least do that? That's enough for me to say, look, they got caught up in media spin. I understand their position. They got caught up in media spin. They didn't understand the situation. And they investigated me, and there was nothing to find. No hard feelings. I live in Florida. They can't even do that. No, they want to stick to their guns. Fuck Andrew Tate. Byron wants to say fuck Andrew Tate to try and get votes. All these clowns want to use my name to try and get votes. I don't like this show.
Yeah.
I don't like this clown show. And it breaks my heart.
Yeah, but
I want to get Pat's opinion on
I wanted to ask
this.
him one thing, and I agree with what all you guys are saying. And Andrew, when I think somebody said something of you brought it on yourself, I think what you did, what you're guilty of in a good way, is you exposed the system. You did exactly what Trump did, and they did to him. Well, they did to you what they did to him, but they actually tried to shoot him in the head and take his head out. So when I say it comes with the territory, what you did, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are appreciative of you saying, hey guys, you pulled over the curtain, you called the Matrix, and you said, this is who's in charge, this is what's the actual deal. Trump did it in his own way about the system here. So I understand where you're coming from. I don't want to say it comes with the territory, but Andrew, you blew the top off of it, and I think once that Pandora's box is open, there is no coming back. I don't think I think it's any system that you expose, and this is from you. It's global. Yeah. It was the UK. It's America.
Of course.
It's all these people freaking are after you because you expose them.
If I have to be, and I try and self-analyze, and I try and be very critical of myself because that's how you improve. And I understand that perhaps I'm being emotional, and perhaps I'm not being fully logical, and I understand all the points you're making, and perhaps I am making a mistake. Perhaps all of these things. I understand it.
And I don't think that. I don't think you were.
When I was on that jet, to land in Trump's America, I'm not landing in a Democrat America. I'm landing in Trump's America after 4 years of unfair imprisonment in a corrupt country. I expected a hero's welcome, and I didn't get it. And all I'm now asking for, at least admit that there's nothing to find on me. Then I'll live here. Just say, we investigated him. He ain't done anything here. Don't say I've never done anything anywhere else. Don't say I'm the most innocent man in the world. Don't say I'm an angel. Just say there's nothing in Florida. Case closed. Just do that. Do that and I'll live here. But if you're not even going to give me that, if you're going to be so arrogant and you're not even going to give me that, I don't see why you deserve my money. And maybe I'm petty. But you know what? There gets to a point in life where there's nothing really else enjoyable but being petty. Because Trump himself's about to take Greenland because they didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Because you get to a certain level of power and money where being petty is probably the most fun thing you can do. I didn't struggle and go through all this shit and get off the streets and finally make some money and put my life together from absolutely nothing and birth all these beautiful children and go through all this crap to sit there and not have the ability to be petty. If you talk to me like shit and treat me like shit, guess what? I'll go somewhere else.
Well, why don't we do this? Now that...
Get DeSantis here, and then we'll fucking talk to us.
About what?
But does he have to fix it?
Adam,
Does he have to bring his girlfriend?
Sure. Bring both.
Go ahead.
And we can all shake hands, and I'll buy a big-ass fat house in Miami, and we'll have a great time. Like, I'm not anti-America in any way.
That won't happen.
So
You're not going to get that from him.
I think you just brought up Trump, and I'm going to ask Pat a question.
Sure.
I think you should take a page out of Trump. Because you just sort of said that Trump is being petty. I think Trump is a different person this time around. I think Vinny might have made the best point of the podcast. And I've never said that about Vinny. If PBD, he does sound petty, emotional.
I don't think he sounds petty. He's talking
he said
crap.
That. He said that.
He deserves it.
I think he has been wronged. None of us has been to jail, cockroaches, rush hour.
Ricky Tan.
Ricky Tang.
Yeah.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? All that. What one thing would you say, Tate? I agree with everything, but change this one thing, man.
You don't...
To him.
No. At 39 years old, no.
Well, you just said...
but let me tell you. No.
I can't be saved.
No.
I can't be saved.
Listen, you know, when you have when you're an alpha, strong personality, your life is what you've, like the Clementa guy, Rob, who is the guy that said, when I think about any of these characters, myself, Tate, any of these guys, pull the trigger. Let me pull this up. You see where I'm going with this. I always go back to this guy. Okay, I had this guy on the podcast, Jim Clemente, who was a guy that I talked about him the other day.
3 things, pull the trigger.
3 things, okay, he said, when he interviewed serial killers. He said, genetics loads the gun. So part of that is genetics, blood. Personality and psychology aim, experiences pulls the trigger. This applies to all of us.
Of course.
Like, pulls the trigger doesn't mean just pulls the trigger to gun. Pulls the trigger to starting a company.
Yep.
Pulls the trigger to leaving from California to Texas to Florida. That is a pulls the trigger. Personality and psychology aim. It's my personality and psychology. It's his personality and psychology. It's Trump's personality and psychology. Then experiences pulls the trigger. You know what? Here's what I'm going to be doing. You know what? I think I'm going to leave California. And then, the life I've lived, personality, I just don't fit here. I'm going to go over here. Yeah, you don't, I'm not in the business of here telling Tate what to do and what not to do. I don't want to go there. I actually want to transition to the next part here. Yeah. But DeSantis is not going to come out and apologize to you.
Of course.
Because DeSantis is further right.
Of course.
He is, like, in America, and you follow this closely, Trump is a Republican, but he's more an independent, okay? Mm-hmm. He's probably a center-right guy.
Yeah.
DeSantis is here. Mm-hmm. DeSantis is not here. Trump is here. Trump the other day called Elizabeth Warren and said, hey, what do you think about this?
Because he's trying to get things
credit.
Done. Yeah.
He's trying to kind of find out what's going on with the marketplace. And Trump pretty much gets along with everybody until you call him out. Then your enemy, then it's gone. He's coming for your throat.
Trump are alike.
Yes.
There we go. So basically, in conclusion, Trump and I understand each other.
In other
Except
words,
for with Sneeko.
In other words,
he would have called him off.
He would have done that. But in other words, you're moving to Palm Beach, if that's what you're saying. If you're Trump or alike.
Listen, guys, I truly love America. I'm truly an American. I want America to do well. I'm 100% a fan of the American empire. If we get rid of all the bravado and all the emotionality, I just want to be somewhere where I wake up with my children without worrying about getting arrested.
Can I ask you a question? So
that's all it is, guys.
So Tate, if we
and
go
it's not
back,
because I'm guilty.
If we go back and we think about, by the way, do you know I found a message from you, that we 7 years ago, 6 years ago, I don't know what it was. That,
wow.
Do you know that? Like, you had like 40,000 followers.
Don't remember.
And it was, it could have been 8 years ago, it could have been 7 years ago.
Crazy.
But I remember watching, I'm like, who is this guy? What a freaking well-spoken guy. And I think that's what a lot of people would say, like, who is this guy? This guy speaks so well. Yeah. Let me hear him out. Oh, good point. So what were the good points? Okay, why would a man get married? It's a waste of time and da-da-da-da-da, man, female, all that. Okay.
Yep.
Then it was COVID, the government said, then it's Matrix, then it became Israel, okay? And remember, every argument goes like this, the cycle, right?
Yep.
Where would you say we are right now in this cycle of Israel? The topic of Israel, it's always the Jews. Jews are in charge. They're doing this. Do you think we're here for this new cycle, or do you think we're here? Do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, I understand what you're asking. I think the Gaza situation was putting a huge spotlight on Israel. That seems to have died down now. The flotilla's gone, and the bombing has stopped. That's a big part of it. But I do believe there is a huge percentage of the young male population which are so disenfranchised with the system that they're looking for somebody to blame. If you want to get someone on here to discuss whether the Israelis or the Jews are actually to blame, well, that's going to be Nick, because I believe he's more qualified than I. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that young men are waking up in a world where they stand no chance of having any of the things their fathers had. They're never going to have a wife who respects them and loves them, because their wife's on TikTok and believes she deserves a G-Wagon full of roses. And they believe they need a Lambo at 19. And nobody wants to work a job because jobs don't pay. And nobody wants to go to school because a degree isn't going to pay. And nobody can save up to buy a house because you can no longer compound your work in dollars. You can't go to work, do an hour's work, put it in the bank, do another hour's work, put it in the bank, and save up to buy a house, because you're being outpaced by inflation, money printing, all these wars, all this Somali fraud, taxes. You're being outpaced. You can't even save money anymore. So when young men are waking up in a world where their only chance to possibly get rich is effectively gamble on crypto, literally gamble, they're sitting here going, well, this system's broken. Who's behind this system? Why am I living in such a broken system? And there is a theory, and there's many theories as to who's in charge of the world or who built this system or why the system's so broken. There is a theory that it's the Jews. That's why anti-Semitism is going to continue no matter what Israel does, whether they stop the bombing or not, whether the Jews come on the news and shut this song down or not, whether they try and ostracize anyone who talks about them or not. None of that's going to change anything as long as you have a huge percentage of young men who stand no hope in life. Because when you've always, in any point in human history, when you find a large subset of the young masculine population that have no hope, it's going to be a revolution. They're looking for somebody to blame, and they're going to do something. They're going to become radicalized. That happens absolutely everywhere. So for you to ask me, where are we in the Israel conversation? I don't think it matters what Israel does, or Bibi, what he says, or what Trump says. I don't think any of that matters. When you have all these men out here who have no hope of building a good life, they're going to find somebody to blame for it, whether it's immigrants. That's what it is in European countries.
What would you do? Yeah, you're 22, and you're 22 today.
Yeah.
Not 39. You're 22 today, and you're seeing what the market's going, and your brain's going, a million miles an hour. You're consuming all this information. How would you position yourself when you're watching? Some of the influence. It's always the Jews. It's Israel. It's this. It's that. How would you process it to differentiate yourself? Okay,
so the first thing is, I think it's very easy to confuse finding someone to blame or finding out what's happening with fixing the problem. And I think there is, I'm not going to lie, there's definitely a large percentage of people on the internet who are looking for someone to blame as opposed to taking personal responsibility to fix the problem. There's no Jew that's stopping you from going to the gym and being in good shape. No Jew is stopping you walking into a gym. So, you have personal responsibility and personal accountability. And in many situations, even if they're unfair, even if the game is rigged, the best thing you can do is say, well, these are the rules I'm playing within, and I have to try and win, and take absolute personal responsibility for everything. That's the first thing. The second thing, you asked what I would do if I was 22. That is a very difficult question to answer, because I think we've moved into a new stage of capitalism. We've moved into this heavily financialized, this stock market bubble version of capitalism, which is different than the consumer capitalism we used to live under. In the 90s, you got rich by opening a mom and pop shop or opening a factory. I make lighters, and I'm going to sell you lighters, and you're going to buy the lighters, and I'm going to produce them, and I'm going to make a profit, and I'm going to get rich. But what chance do you have of manufacturing anything in the West? Zero. What chance do you have of competing with any of these large conglomerates or monopolies in the West? Basically zero. If I gave you $1 million in 1990 and said make more money, you'd open businesses. If I give you $1 million now and said make more money, you put it in the stock market, or you buy Bitcoin. So you're a lot of the times, just investing in the monopolies. It's getting easier and easier to make money from money and harder to make money from nothing. And this is the problem with the world we're in because young people have no money. So to make their first million is nearly impossible. But to turn $1 million into 10 million is easy. Buy and chill. That's it. So it's getting worse and worse. And this ties into what I said earlier about the fact that since 2016, we have trillions and trillions of brand new dollars, GDP's through the roof, stock market's all-time high, everyone with money is richer, but the country actually, if you look around, doesn't feel richer at all. The economy is actually worse than it's ever been. The real economy at the bottom. The rich are just getting richer all of the time. So as a 22-year-old, what they are doing, what they're currently doing, is because they understand this. They're all becoming radicalized. Some of them are finding people to blame for it and sitting and lamenting and crying in their bedrooms about the situation. Some are going, okay, I need to find a way out, and are effectively gambling. This is why meme coins are such a big thing. This is why prediction markets are such a big thing. This is why online casinos are making larger profits than they've ever made. Because a young man understands $10,000 means nothing. I need 10 million. $10,000 is nothing. I may as well just gamble it. 10,000 and zero is the same. So all the young men in the world today are just throwing their money away, trying to get enough money to turn that money into money, because that's the only way to make money now. The solution to all of this is extremely complicated. It's difficult. I don't know what the solution is. For me to answer the question, what would I do at 22? Well, I'll do the same thing I've always done. I'd become so exceptional that I can disprove the rule. I could say, all right, buy average is nearly impossible. Yes, the game is rigged. Yes, it's extremely hard to do, but I'm not the average guy.
Is that an evergreen philosophy?
I think it is.
I think so as well.
I think the only thing you can do, if everything that is told to us about the Jews controlling America and the system being rigged, if all of that's true, the correct answer is still to get up, work hard, be better than everyone else, try harder than everyone else does, and excel. That's the only answer. You can sit and tweet all day if you want, but it's not going to fix your life. So that is the answer. However, the game is certainly becoming harder because I can talk from personal experience. It is so easy for me to turn money into money, and it is so difficult for me to find a business that makes me money. It's hard now, even for me in this current economy. It's so easy for me to buy an asset and wait. That's the safest, easiest thing I can do. And this is the world we live in. And you know what that does to asset prices? They soar. So what happens to the young people? We're living in financialized capital.
That's always been the case, though. That's always been the case.
I don't think so. I think, of course, you could always make money from assets. Of course you could. But what I'm saying
buy and hold is a thing that's been around for a while.
But the idea that you could open a business and make money from the business, I think that's become a lot harder now than it would have been in the year 2000.
You think it's hard to start a business today?
I think it's harder to open
in America? It's the easiest time
I think it's harder to open a physical business in the West today than it was 20 years ago.
Let me hear it.
Like a mom and pop shop.
Just to start a business.
I think it's harder to open a physical business in the West, anywhere, not just America, in the West today than it ever was. I think 20 years ago you stood a better chance of opening a physical business anywhere. I think now by the time you open anything...
Unpack that.
You're competing with conglomerates and monopolies. You can't sell phone chargers. You can't. By the time you take all the products Amazon sell, all the products Walmart sell, all the products Target sell, if you look at the amount of small independent stores that used to exist only 20 years ago, everyone's out of business. It's monopolized. Most things are completely monopolized in the West. So it's very difficult for you as an individual to go and start a company and compete with these monopolies. You can do something online. Of course, but this ties into what we were saying earlier. If you're trying to make money online, how do you do it? You need attention. How do you get attention online? Well, you can have life experience like all of us. You can go through a very, very difficult life and you can tell stories and you can try to be entertaining, but most people can't do that. You're 23. So how do you make money online? Well, you need attention. How do you get attention online? You're a clown. And this ties into all the problems with society by and large. This ties into all the crap we see with online pranking and these stupid things that are going on and these TikTok videos and all this garbage and people literally risking their lives, setting themselves on fire to try and promote a meme coin. All of this is from desperation because young men do not see a way out of the trap. The system was very, very clear before. Go to school, get a degree, get a good job, save your money, buy a house. Nobody in good faith can say that that still works.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
The game has changed.
The game has changed. The game is broken. And it's broken. The reason, I'll tell you why it's broken.
I disagree with you.
When you have a game where 90% of people playing it are going to lose, and then you believe they're not going to be revolutionaries in some form or another, then you haven't read enough history books, sir.
Tate.
They're going to find someone to blame, and they're going to burn it down.
I agree with that.
Why is socialism winning in New York? I'll tell you why. Because people are broke. So they think, why would I buy into capitalism? Everyone tells me socialism's so bad all the time. Everyone tells me that communism's terrible and Mamdani's terrible, and I've read about the history, I've read about the communists. Everyone says socialism's bad. Well, I'm living in capitalism and I have no fucking health care and I can't afford a house. So what do I have to lose at this point? You wonder why the socialists and the Democrats keep winning? You wonder why they keep winning even though their policies are bullshit? You wonder why they win even though they put the taxes up? Because young people are completely disenfranchised with this system because they are poor. On top of being poor, they're watching social media with people who are rich. Do you understand the envy this is creating?
Oh, yeah.
Do you understand that a young man can't even talk to a girl because he's not a millionaire? 19-year-old men are saying to me, girls don't talk to me because I have no money. So you're not supposed to have money. You're 19. You're supposed to just be charming and in good shape and have fun. Girls don't want that. Girls want money. The world is completely broken in the West now. It's completely broken. So we've entered this really dangerous stage where if we don't blame Israel, if they find something else to blame, it doesn't matter. Things are going to burn. If you have a whole bunch of young men who are never going to get a family, never going to have any money, never going to own a house. They're completely disenfranchised with the system they live within. If you read a history book, that ends one way, sooner or later. And we need to bring these people into the system. If we want to be capitalistic, and all of us are capitalists, we need to at least offer the young people a chance to play the game. We can't say capitalism's fantastic, communism's terrible, capitalism's the best, but you can't play. Here's my Bugatti. No one's going to accept that for long.
Who says you can't play?
Yeah.
They can't play because the rules are too hard. Because we've entered a new form of financialized capitalism where the easiest way for you to make money is to take money and turn it into money. And, you know, I'm not an economist. I'm not an economist, and I'm not going to pretend I am. But if you take numbers on a screen and turn it into more numbers on a screen, there has to be someone's getting fucked there. It ain't me, because I've taken my money, done no work, and turned it into more. But someone else somewhere along the line is getting wrecked for me to get more money because I turned my money into money without work. That is, you can say it's usury, you can say whatever it is.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the young man who's going to work every day, paying his taxes, struggling to afford rent, living in a town which is getting more and more crime-ridden, living in a town with all these liberals who are turning to socialism and communism and supporting the Somalis and fighting ICE because nobody else has any money and everyone else is on welfare and everyone's frauding, everyone's stealing from the government, NGOs are stealing, no FBI raids on the Somali daycares. You're a young 20-year-old man. You're going to work every day. You're struggling to pay your bills. Somalis are getting billions from the government. None of them are in chains. You're told to continue to pay your taxes. Shut up. And like, how long do we think people are going to get fucked before they say, no, this is bullshit? The social contract in the West, whether we like it or not, is broken. The social contract is broken. Young men who do the right thing are not being rewarded for doing the right thing. And we think they're going to continue to do it? They're turning to socialism because they're revolutionaries. They're turning to anti-Semitism because they're revolutionaries. Because they feel completely lost. Because we've given them nothing. Even the most basic thing. Fuck giving them houses and money. Forget that. They can't even get a girlfriend, bro. They can't even get a girl in Miami. The girls their age want men twice their age who are millionaires. These men are lonely. They are depressed. They see no way out. And this ends one way. Whether we like it or not. Whether we like it. So I'm actually saying, as a capitalist, we need to at least make the capitalism game playable again. If I was president, and I'm not, and I don't believe I'm qualified to be, Trump is a million times smarter than I am. Trump's been through a bunch more than I have. I'm glad he's the president. But even he understands, unless we can find a way to get people to engage with this system, it's going to break. It's going to break whether we like it or not. And that's the situation we're currently in the West. To fix our society, by and large, to fix it, everybody needs to feel included within it. They need to feel like if I do the right thing for the society does the right thing for me. And if you're actually honest with yourself, if you're a 22-year-old man, like you said, yes, you can function on personal excellence. Yes, you can say I'm going to be better than everyone else. Yes, you can say I'm going to escape the matrix. It's true. But of course, not everybody can do that. Of course, there's going to be exceptional people who manage to do it, and most don't. The majority of people, if you look at their lives and you look at the positions and the opportunities that are afforded to them, they don't want to play anymore. They're like, I don't want to do this.
I think that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake, and I'll tell you why. You know, if you lived in New York from 40s through 80s, you would have said, I don't trust the government. Why not? Look what the mob's been doing. Yep. The Italian mafia, they do this, they do that, they do this. What happened to law and order? Yep. What happened to justice? What happened to this? I don't trust them. I'm going to be a criminal myself. I'm going to sell pot. I'm going to sell cocaine. So people in Italy felt the same way, because the argument that you're making, Tate, I fully agree on there needs to be accountability, or else who the hell trusts law and order? Yeah. And sometimes I think America goes through that history of people that break the law, make money. You ever seen Russians that come here from communism? The way they view law, it's so weird the way they view law. Yeah. I had a relationship back in the days, and I come home one day, and the father was a phenomenal guy. And one day, my car gets hit by this guy in Palace in Hollywood. And I'm chasing this guy because he had a bunch of beers, and I realized he stole the car. So he hits my car, he leaves. Cops are chasing this guy. I'm chasing this guy for 10 minutes. I'm in an expedition. He's in a Firebird. So eventually I lose him.
Wait, expedition
Ford
in California?
Yeah, Ford expedition in California. So this is 2000, okay? I come home, I'm like, you will not believe what happened. He says, what happened? I said, look at the back of the car. Yeah. This guy hits me and he leaves. He says, that's great. I said, what do you mean that's great? He says, I'll be back. So I go in the kitchen and I'm eating borscht. Phenomenal borscht. You've had borscht. Russian is just the greatest. You age backwards.
Of course.
When you eat borscht. It's so good.
Yeah, it makes you strong.
You should have
some. Really?
You'll be 39 in a month if you have borscht.
It's amazing.
You should have her make you borscht.
There's somebody in my life that wants to make me borscht.
Well, no. Only if she knows how to make it. But the right kind. The wrong kind of borscht you ate, but the right kind of borscht you ate backwards. So I'm in the kitchen, borscht, and I'm eating borscht, and all of a sudden, Tate, all I hear is wham, wham, wham. I'm like, what the? So I run out. I'm thinking someone's beating somebody up. He took a baseball bat. He's hitting the back of the car like you wouldn't believe. He's shattering my window. He's shattering. He says, this is a perfect insurance case. We're going to get $50,000. Yeah. You're going to be great. Yeah. I want you to go meet this chiropractor.
Whiplash.
What are you talking about? By the way, it's the funniest scene, one of the funniest moments of my life. I'm like looking at him, because this is a guy I love. Till today, I love this guy. And he's like, it's going to be okay. This is America. We're going to get some money out of this. It's going to be fantastic. All right? So, but what that is not.
Was he Somalian?
No, he's not. He's Russian. But the point I'm trying to make to you is, when you come from a certain place, you think that way, right? When you live in communism, and the only way to make money is you have to do it illegally. We would all be criminals if we lived in what do you call it? If we lived in
Somalia?
No, if we lived in Russia. But here's where I'm going with it. I think. I trust that eventually accountability is coming. It's never going to come at our time. Yeah. But the part, Tate, that I wonder if this is the right mindset, right? Think about what message goes viral more.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
You ready? One message. It's your responsibility. You can do something about it. You go out and read the book. Nobody stopped you from going to the gym. Yeah. You make better decisions. You stop using drugs.
Which is my message and your message.
It is your message.
And your message.
It is 100%. No, 100%. We're aligned. It is. But you know what? Like, you're in a room and we're watching people. Sometimes the best podcasts are when no cameras on, because you know what I'm talking about, right?
Of course.
Sometimes you're in a room and you're sizing everybody up, and then you catch the word and you said, oh man, I was hoping that guy's got that unfair language. You're not saying that. You're saying if they're thinking that, right? Okay. Yes. If you even get recruited by the unfair philosophy community, you will lose decades of your life.
100%.
If you even for a slight second get recruited by the unfair community, and then you become a disciple or even a prophet or a spokesperson for that community, you will find millions of followers like this.
Correct.
They'll show up. And then you'll be in a room and you're like, why am I in this room? By the way, members here, these guys that are sitting here, last minute we told them last night at 9 o'clock. So it's not like it's not a public. Nobody, just so you know, no announcement was made. Yeah. This was in a small group of 80 people, and half our members are not even from here. We just said, hey, a couple of people showed up. They had to text. We didn't even say who is coming. So we got, however many people here.
Capitalists who win.
By the way, do you know who are the members here? Do you know who members here?
I've heard they're good people.
They're good people. They're family people.
Yeah.
The best people.
But what I'm saying is they're like us.
Yeah.
They're tough. They're strong.
Yeah.
Family values.
Yeah.
The only part that I go with this is, if you listen to AOC's message, it's unfair. If you listen to Mamdani's message, it's unfair. Let's go to the other side. Did we print too much money? 100%.
Yeah.
Who did that help? Money rolled up. Money never rolls down.
Ever.
Money always rolls up because the top invests, the bottom spends.
Yeah.
So the top finds a way to invest, the bottom just, let's do barbecue, let's go to the club, let's do this, let's do that.
And when the bottom spend, it goes to the top.
It always goes to the top. It always goes to the top.
There's no way to stop it.
So, by the way, Michael Saylor comes and we're doing a podcast with Michael. And, I want to go back to you. Michael Saylor says, one day we're sitting there and I'm thinking about the last 10 years of what Bitcoin has done.
Yeah.
Average rate of return, he says, whatever it was a massive number. But in the last 5 years, it was 39%. He says, let's say you got a company that's doing 10 million a year. If your company is growing at 20% rate every year, 10%, 20%, 10 million, 2 million, 14.4 million, 16.8 million, but it's growing 20%. Why would I put my 20 million, my money into a company? Why not put it in Bitcoin where it's returning me 39%? Don't even operate a company. So guess what these guys, he just bought another $1 billion of Bitcoin.
I saw this morning.
I think a week ago or 2 days ago, whatever it was.
2 days yesterday.
Yeah, 2 days ago, he just bought. So you're right on what you're talking about, but these guys have been around for a while. You look at some of these guys, you're like, how the hell did that guy all of a sudden have a $10 billion net worth? How did that guy all of a sudden have a $3 billion net worth, $40 billion net worth? Do you want to go into the solution? Do you want to go into the solution? What is the solution?
Yeah, okay, so Bailey, are you here? Is Bailey here, my camera guy? Okay. Could someone find him and tell him to delay my next appointment, please? Because we're going to be here a while.
I'll text him.
Yeah, please sort all that out for me.
You know who I'm texting?
Yeah, please. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
How much time you
I don't
need?
want to be disrespectful.
How much time you need?
Let's say we could do 2 o'clock.
But don't accuse a Jew of running your schedule here, buddy. Okay?
I just want to have a good time, and I don't want to disrespect anyone.
I got you.
Yeah, let him know, please. I really appreciate that. You're right. What is the solution? And I totally agree with you about exceptionalism, and we preach the same message. And the only answer I've ever found, the solution, is to become an exceptional person. But when you build a society, the point I'm trying to make is not about me and my message and my views. It's not about me and my life. I come from the absolute bottom. I grew up in Gary, Indiana, which was the murder capital of America at the time. And then I grew up in Luton, England, which I think might still be the stab capital of England. in a single household, single mother household.
Is Tommy also from Luton?
Tommy's from Luton.
Tommy's from Luton.
Yeah, I
as well,
know him well. So I grew up in the worst possible scenarios, and I managed to pull it off, and I have a fantastic life, and I get to take care of everyone. That's true. But when you build a society, unfortunately, you do have to build for the mean. You have to build for the median. And if we have a society in which we are now saying the only way out is to not be average, then you're going to be outpaced and outvoted by all of the average people. You're completely right, Patrick. It is very easy to sit and say the world's unfair, the game's unfair, I'm going to make everything fair. Why do they get millions and millions of followers? Because there's always going to be more average people than exceptional people. So what I'm saying is if we want to prevent socialism from completely conquering this nation, we need to at least give average people a chance in the game of capitalism. How do we do that? I'm not an economist. It's very complicated. It's very difficult.
Don't even know it. The economists don't even know it. Typically, it's guys like you, by the way.
Of course.
Economists
don't even know.
No, they don't know it.
And we have a situation now where, for example, let's say I'm Trump and I have the magic pen. And let's say I can make housing affordable for young people so they feel invested in their communities. Let's not underestimate how important it is for young people to own a home because it gives them an emotional attachment to their community. They're now prepared to defend that community. They now have a vested interest in how clean that street is. They care because their house is on that street. If they're renting, it's not the same. And if they're transient, it's not the same. The Western world, America especially, was built on owning land. This is mine. I'm going to defend it to the end. I'm going nowhere. You're not doing that around my house, my family. So if Trump were to come along with the magic pen and say, I want to make housing affordable, you know what he would enter? He'd enter a war with all of the asset managers. He'd enter a war with Vanguard, BlackRock, and all of the other rich people. Because if you make houses affordable, their assets go down. They don't want that. So we now have, effectively, to a degree, a class war. I don't know the answer to these things.
Did you hear what he just announced? That he's not allowing, Rob, can you pull up that story that...
He's not allowing BlackRock to buy single-family homes.
Yes.
Amazing. That's why he's the best president of modern history. That's why Trump is a real president. But what I'm saying, if you are, there's someone I was speaking to, and I'm not going to name names, but we all know who this person is, and they have a whole bunch of money. And he said, Andrew, when you look at the world, you need to understand that world leaders are just asset managers. They're the asset manager for the ultra wealthy within their nation. Let's talk about Venezuela quickly. Why did the Venezuela kidnap happen? I have a theory that Maduro did a deal, but let's assume that's not true. Why did it happen? Because the American government said to Maduro, play ball. He said no. They said, okay, cool. Let's go one level below him to all the generals who can't be bothered to die in a pointless war they stand no chance in. But more importantly, let's talk economics. You're a general in Venezuela. You've managed to be corrupt enough to steal $6 or $7 million across your career. If you get sanctioned, not only can you not leave Venezuela, you can't transfer money, you can't own assets anywhere else, your dollars are worthless. You don't want this smoke, right? So it's Maduro's job to keep these people so happy with him that they don't betray him for America. And it's the same everywhere. All of the leaders of every single country, their primary objective actually isn't the common man. Their primary objective is protecting their oligarchy, because it's their oligarchy that have enough power to betray them and overthrow them. This is the same in every single country. So as Trump, it's very difficult. How do I protect the billionaires? Because the billionaires put me here, and the billionaires run the economy. And they own all the important things. And they own the news stations. And they own all the gas stations. And they own everything. I need them happy. But how do I do that without destroying their wealth? And also allowing young people a chance to make wealth. It's constantly fluxing. It's extremely difficult and hard and complicated to do. And there is an intangible element to all of this. The intangible is that we have a brand new thing that we never had before. And I would argue that this brand new thing that we all benefit from, social media, is driving envy to a level where it is literally impossible for a young person to fathom anything other than getting money today. And it's getting worse. Not only are people poor, they have to watch the rich all day. It's amazing we don't have riots already. This is a brand new paradigm we're entering. And there's no easy solution to these things. I'm not advocating for communism. I live in Romania, which used to be communist. I hear all the horror stories. But even Romania now, they overthrew their election. The guy who won was thrown out. He was put in jail by the same prosecutor as me. Interesting story. They put in an EU shill. They're now bringing in 250,000 migrants a year, and they've doubled the taxes. All the people are now starting to say, this is worse than communism because I can't afford this game anymore. At least in communism, I could eat. I can't pay my bills anymore. What I'm saying is capitalism at the hyper extent is only going to drive the median towards socialism because the median can't play the capitalistic game. So we have to sit as intelligent adults and say, okay, how do we include the young people in capitalism? That's what we have to do.
Absolute true. It's so true. It's very true what you're saying with the affordability. I think the affordability is a real issue, but I think a part of it, Tate, my opinion, to really get it to go, it's like even right now what he said the other day, hey, we're going to buy $200 billion of paper to cause interest rates to go lower. That announcement alone brought the interest rates for, 30-year to the lowest in 3 years. It dropped by, Trump announced a $200 billion bond purchase and bid to lower mortgage rates. Do you know what my opinion is on what we need to do long term, which will never happen? Will never happen in America. Never happen in America. Not because of the election model that we have. The benefit a monarchy has over a democracy, a monarchy, you have to think about what's good for the country in 40-year terms.
Yes.
20-year terms.
Yes.
Democracy, you have to think about, you got every 2 years you have an election. Midterm,
it's hard.
Presidential, midterm, it's like, man, what can I do to please that audience and these guys and those guys? Yeah. The truth of the matter is, you gotta let it take a hit for a few years.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you want your body to naturally reproduce, and you've been on all this stuff, you're Mr. Olympia competitor, you got to get off of stuff to 100%. Let the body reproduce 100%. Testosterone again. And the chance of that happening with any president in our lifetime, it's not going to happen.
You're completely right. And we have to recognize patterns. And I wonder, and I'm worried, because you study the fall of empires, right? You study how all empires rise and all the empires fall in the end. And they all fall the same way. The Roman Empire fell the same way. Inflation, mass migration, disenfranchisement of the youth, young men not wanting to die for the country anymore, didn't want to join the army, no one having kids, birth rates, all the exact same problems we have. You study it and you go, wow, maybe empires do just rise and they do just fall. How do we fix these things? It's extremely difficult. I don't have the answer, and nobody in human history has ever found the answer. It's extremely hard to find. But my worry is this, and I'm trying to plan for the future, right? I, unfortunately, and I'm not saying this hyperbolically or trying to be a tough guy, I have a strong belief there is a chance at any random moment that I get blasted and I'm gone, right? So I have to plan for the future for my family, for my kids, for all the people I care about. The American dream is the number one thing that unified this country. The American dream is come here, live amongst people who don't think like you, who don't look like you, who don't talk like you, who have a different religion to you. More importantly, and this is very important, they have a different version of history than you. Your heroes are their villains, and their villains are your heroes. You're completely different. But if you obey the law, you can get rich. And what we're starting to see is people wake up and go, wait, I can't get rich. And wait, nobody's obeying the law. So once you have that mass realization, once people realize that the laws in America, the courts, the judicial system, ICE, the police, DOJ, FBI, all of them are at the very brink of their capability and they still can't seem to stop the crime. That the laws aren't working and the system is broken. That the American dream isn't real because most people don't get rich. What comes for this society? What's unifying us? Because let's talk about a country like Ukraine, which is corrupt head to toe. Complete corruption. But I actually have to give credit to the Ukrainians because they've been through so much shit. No electricity, snowstorms, mass corruption scandals, a war, people getting dragged off the street. And you know what you still see in Kiev? People waiting in line. You would not see, we can't have a hurricane without a riot. We can't have a hurricane without mass looting. When there was an eclipse, I remember when there was last an eclipse 3 or 4 years ago, I saw something that scared me for America. An eclipse was coming. And all the countries were talking about where you can see the eclipse, and for 2 minutes it's going to be dark, etc. When the American government posted about the eclipse, it warned people about the possibility of crime. At 1 p.m. in the fucking afternoon, it's going to be dark for 2 minutes, you might die? Is that how fragile our society has become? And I'm saying this as a patriotic American. I'm not trying to slander America. I love America. What I'm saying is, if the American dream holds us together, then it's very important the American dream is real. And it's not real anymore for many people. And this is why they're turning to revolutionary acts, whether it be socialism, whether it be anti-Semitism, whether it be just straight criminality. They think they have nothing to fucking lose. And we need to fix society so the mean, so the average don't have that problem. I'll give you another example. People talk about birth rates. Elon talks about birth rates all the time. Birth rates, birth rates, birth rates. I have kids. You have kids. You can have as many kids as you want. Whenever you decide, you can have kids. But you're not going to have a replacement birth rate unless the average man can have kids. And unfortunately, the average man can't have kids because the average woman wants stuff the average man can't give. That's the world we now live in.
How do you change that?
Well, exactly. How do you change that? This all ties into capitalism. This all ties into all these other problems. No. So Trump's trying his best, but Trump is caught between a rock and a hard place. Because if you piss off your oligarchy, now you have a whole new problem. You cannot, as Donald Trump or the president, no matter how powerful you are, piss off every rich person in your country. Let's talk about the Epstein list. Last time I was here, I said to you, Vinny, I said the reason he cannot release the Epstein list, why is he doing a cover-up of Epstein? I'll tell you all why. And I was right. I said whether you like it or not, whether Epstein did wrong things or not, you cannot lock up or investigate or publicly trial the most powerful, rich people in this nation. You can't take hedge fund managers and drag them to jail over something that might have happened in 1996. Your country implodes. Trump knows that. He knows he can't destroy his oligarchy. And different countries deal with their oligarchy in different ways. Venezuela's oligarchy sold them out because he didn't keep them happy enough. He was letting them steal. He was letting them all steal. But they couldn't steal enough because you can't steal more than the American government's going to send you. So they sold them out. Putin deals with his oligarchy another way. They fall out of fucking windows. China deals with his oligarchy. Well, they'll take Alibaba off your ass. You'll disappear for 3 years and come back and be a fucking communist. Everyone has to deal with their oligarchy. And in America, the nicest of the countries, we try to keep them happy. And unfortunately, to keep them happy, somebody's getting fucked. And what I'm saying is if we don't keep the balance careful, where the oligarchy's happy and the people in the middle, not at the bottom, but the people in the middle feel like they stand a chance. If the people in the middle get fucked too hard, a revolution, whether it be anti-Semitic, whether it be socialism, whether it be communism, or whether it just be straight criminality, is coming for this nation. That is a matter of time. That is not a matter of maybe. That's a matter of when. And we need to fix that. If young men could get a girlfriend and buy a house, anti-Semitism would disappear.
No.
Yes, it would. All this online hatred towards Jews would disappear if young men could buy a house and get a girlfriend. Actually, yes, it's that simple.
No, it's not.
Because young men are not sitting, I would argue, and
the part about what he's saying is right.
Young men aren't sitting there.
I want to hear what you're saying, but he is. But he's
Can the guy who deals with anti-Semitism weigh in on anti-Semitism?
Of course.
For a second, guy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's so much. You know what I love? By the way, shout out to PBD. I'm getting messages, Fresh and Fibba. Thank you for having this conversation. Thank you for. By the way, message to the Democrats. This is what grown men do who disagree.
Yeah.
Sit down and talk about stuff. So thank God we have PBD to say, Tate, I disagree. Vinny, blah, blah, blah.
That's why we're actually friends.
This is what it is.
That's the whole point. 100%.
If the dinner, the 6-hour dinner and drink-a-thon I had with Tristan Tate was on camera, it'd be viral right now.
Of course.
Thank you, Justin Waller, for that.
Thank you.
But anti-Semitism, I'm not even going to talk about that. That's here. That's never going to leave. It is what it is. It's been here thousands of years. What I want to focus on are solutions for young men. Because you asked, what can we do with the affordability problem? Yeah. What I love about you is there's so much I agree with you. Yeah. And then there's so much things I'm like, shut up, Tate.
That's probably true.
And I'm like,
I get that.
What's the one thing that I'm like, that I know more than Tate? Yeah. It's not kickboxing.
Yeah.
It's not chicks, maybe. It's not, world geopolitics. It is America, though.
Of course.
You haven't lived here in 20 years?
That's true.
Yes or no?
Correct.
So the whole, here, at what age did you become a millionaire?
31.
31. You beat me by 4 years. 35. How broke were you at 21?
Oh, terrible. I was driving a Mitsubishi Eclipse and I was in debt $40,000.
So what changed?
Best days of your life, though.
Best days of your life.
Me and
Best
PBD.
days of your life.
Let me tell you this story.
Being broke is great.
Of course. And
being broke's better.
The best part of being rich is joking. Remember when we were broke?
Of course.
PBD, one time we went and got a lemon, water and lemons and sugar, and we made some lemonade too.
Yeah.
And not to cut you off or brag, but I became a thousandaire at 40.
And we can talk about
anyway,
me at 45 had to teach him what a stock was.
No, he didn't. He said Roth IRA.
Financialized capitalism.
Even
there
better.
you go.
But what changed in that 10 years? My guess is literally everything.
Yeah.
Your mindset, your connections, who you're hanging out with, Jen, marriage, kids, right? So for me, 25, I was my brokest friend.
Yep.
Living on my rich friends' couches.
Correct.
Which was helpful. 35, I became a millionaire.
Yes.
What age did you become a millionaire?
Around the same as Patrick, 31, 30.
So there's a uniformity here. In your 30s is when you start to have money.
Correct.
The problem
is...
But
we weren't watching young men our age pull off impossible numbers.
No. There's one guy. You know what percentage of 21-year-olds are millionaires? 1%.
Of course.
So you're looking at the one guy.
Who's got the followers?
Because everyone's on social media.
That's right.
When I was 21, 25, in Miami, and I'm Jewish, I'm thinking, why can't I get all the money? Why can't I get girls? I didn't blame the Jews. I'm a Jew.
Of course.
I said, I need to get to work.
I agree.
And I moved out of Miami, and I moved to Boca, started off as a cold caller.
You're right.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of calls. And that was in 2007, right before the meltdown. 5 years later, I'm pumping iron in the gym. Who do I meet? This guy.
But
he tells me, hold on. He says, you're doing it all wrong, bro. You ever seen pictures of this guy? So the challenge that young men need to understand is you're not supposed to be rich at 21 or at 25. What age did you become a champion in the kickboxing world? What age?
I first became world champion at 24. But that's
and how many guys that you competed with wanted to become the champion?
Of course.
How many?
Everyone.
And how many became the champion?
One. So
most men are average. And average men don't deserve the hottest women and the best houses. So here's my challenge with you.
Yeah.
You've identified the problem.
Yep.
The solution needs to be handled a little bit differently. And I think you'll agree with me. And then I'll make one last point.
Sure.
And then I'll let
Adam,
the great...
this is like...
Oh, you're going to have me on a podcast and not talk?
No, this is not home team. This is Tate.
Okay.
You're treating it like a whole thing. Make your point, and I want to hear Tate's point.
Of course, but I want to pose the question because it's an actual important question.
With a 9-minute prelude?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Get to the point.
This is my point. Would you rather get rich quick or build wealth slow? I want to build wealth slow. So we say future looks bright or future looks bleak.
Yep.
In my opinion, you have two completely opposite talented people. You have Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
And you have Nick Fuentes.
Yep.
One says, get married, have a family, have kids, put in the work. It's going to take you some time. Future looks bright. One says, it's the Jews' fault. This is what's going on. Blah, 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 blah. You can't buy a house. The deck stacks against you. Future looks bleak. They're both smart. They both have points. What's the solution?
Okay. Great point, and I completely understand.
Thank you.
But the point I'm trying to make, I know you're completely right. Anti-Semitism is on the rise, and so is socialism, all these things. The point I'm making is that young men are angry. And anger must be directed somewhere, at somebody. Young men in the world today are very, very angry. And understanding a situation or understanding a problem does give a degree of hope. You're right. Charlie, God rest his soul, was an optimist, and he was giving solutions. And it's the same solution that Patrick, all of us give. That's completely true because we say, look, guys, the only way out is exceptionalism. But if you're an average man and for whatever reason you don't believe or are incapable of becoming exceptional, the best thing you can do then is at least, if you're trying to cope, understand or look for understanding as to why you're getting fucked. That's why Nick is popular. I'm not saying he's right. What I'm saying is people watch him and go, finally it makes sense to me why I'm getting wrecked. It is, for us, as you quite correctly said, I'm a 40-year-old who should have been in that fucking club. For us as older men to sit and say, okay, if you're a 22-year-old man and you believe the system's screwing you, and that's a very tangible thing, you feel it and you see it. You're looking for at least a reason why, even if you can't fix it. Who should I be mad at? The world now in the West is a very angry place. And the problem with the American dream specifically, because there's no such thing as a positive without a negative. Light and dark go together. American exceptionalism is built on the American dream. It's a great thing. But the American dream also has a negative, because what binds America is money. And the point I was making earlier about us all being different people is that in other countries where the youth don't get rich, because you made a very important point, Adam, this is the easiest place in the world to make money. It is. Easiest place in the world to make money. And there's other countries where it's much harder to make money. So why don't they have riots? Because they think the same. Because they talk the same language. Because they have the same version of history. Because they have the same religion. Because they have a culture that unifies them. And what I'm saying, the West now, not just America, the West has become so diluted. Our culture is so thin. There's nothing unifying us but money. All we have is money. That's it.
Well, no,
so if that's all we have, people need to be able to make it.
Individualism and not the warmth blanket of collectivism. That's what it is.
Of course.
This PBD has taught me so much. What do you say about capitalism? Freedom to buy, freedom to sell.
Correct.
Freedom to try, freedom to fail.
Correct.
You know who fails? Losers fail. And that's the problem. And we have this catch-all, welfare state that losers are allowed to be losers.
The average, I would argue, and of course I know nothing. I'm a dummy.
I'm just a comedian.
I am a dummy. I'm a dummy.
Stop it.
I am. I'm just
Nobody believes you're a dummy.
No, but I'm just going through life just observing things.
Yeah.
I live in Romania. And I'll tell you something that I noticed something. This is really weird. I was in a town in Romania. It's called Cluj-Napoca. I'm sure no one's been, but it's very beautiful, very safe town. They have no money for police, but it's very safe because culturally it's very safe. It's just a safe place. And if a song comes on, everybody, male and female, does the same dance. And then if you go to a town 2 hours away, say you go to Brasov, and the same song comes on, everybody does a different dance. All of the people in the entire city, because they went to the same school or they had the same parents or they speak the same language, all know the same dance. To me, that was remarkable. I was like, we don't have that anywhere in the West, where a song comes on and every person in the entire place, male, female, old, young, they all know the same dance. And what I'm saying is that if they all go broke in Romania or Ukraine, they're less likely to go burn the whole place to the ground because they all know the same dance. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying? In America we don't have this here. And what I'm saying is, if money is our game, which is the basis of American exceptionalism, that is a good thing. We need to at least be able to make or allow most average people to in some way play the game. I'm not saying everyone has to be a trillionaire. At least in some way play. And I'll ask you guys, because you know better than me. Adam quite correctly pointed out, I haven't been here for 20 years. If you're a normal young man and you go get an average job, can you buy a house? It's a yes or no question. If the answer is no.
Right now, it's very, very, very no.
If the answer is no, all I'm saying, and I could be wrong, is that we have big problems coming. Because when women get angry, as we all know, they nag and complain. And when women go and protest, it's inconvenient. But do you know what happens when millions of young men go protest? It's called a revolution. Yeah. That is why the British government put me in jail, because I was an unchecked source of influence, verbatim. They said he has too much control over the military-aged population. He can cause a riot. He can get Westminster burnt down. He must be stopped. And you know what? I'm so non-emotional about things. I have to admit, it was prudent for MI6 to write that memo and send it to the Romanians. It was prudent for them to sit and say, this guy could, at the time, I don't have that power anymore. In 2022, I could have said Westminster 8 p.m. and the place would be on fire. And they didn't know my brain. They don't know me. They don't know I come across bombastic and crazy on the internet. They thought this guy might literally burn it all to the ground. Fix it. It's actually prudent for a government to wreck me as they did. I'm not even emotional about it, even though I've done nothing wrong. I get it. But what I'm saying is we have problems coming to America. The average 22-year-old would start this whole conversation, as Patrick asked. The true answer to the question is exceptionalism. But for a society, the social contract can't be purely based around exceptionalism, because we've already seen it. Wasn't New York the most capitalistic city in the world?
Used to be.
Didn't a communist just win? Mm-hmm. Are we all going to sit here and ignore the trend? Are we all going to sit here and go, you know, and you know what I love about all you guys, and I love it especially when Patrick says it on his videos, the future looks bright. Correct, the future is bright, because we're not pessimists, and we'll find a way and we'll sort it out. But for the future to be bright, we need to at least pay attention to where we're going. Our drive isn't bright if we drive with our eyes closed. And we are heading into a nightmare. And the nightmare is because young men are angry, looking for someone to blame. So when I say anti-Semitism would go away if a man could get a girlfriend in a house, I argue that's true, because these young men are furious, and they are bored, and they are at home with nothing to do and no way out.
I agree that the percentage of the complaining would decrease.
Yes.
I don't know if it's permanently going to go away. There's always going to be the argument, well, here's what happened.
People are always going to hate me for being half black.
Yes.
I get Christian, I get white, these groypers and these anti-Semites, they message me, who knew you're black, your mom race mixes, who cares? But you know what I never hear that from? Rich people. I only hear it from broke people. When my yacht parks in Bodrum, my 42-meter yacht, and I'm parked next to a black guy, and I'm parked next to a white guy. Do you think we talk about do you think there's any racism? We're all rich. No one gives a shit. But if you get a whole bunch of young, angry, poor guys, they're going to find somebody to be mad at.
By the way, you said 42 meters to Americans, that's small. Yeah. Can you tell everybody what 42 meters is?
Bigger than this room.
That's 100 foot.
42 meters, that's a small little fishing boat, right?
Look up. I see Tate with the canoe just coming through.
42 meters.
You and Tristan on a canoe.
42 meters.
In fact, no, I'm sorry, guys. I must correct myself. I must correct myself. It was 42 meters. And I now have extended it, because it's almost finished. It is 49 meters. And if it goes over 50 meters, I cannot park right at the front in Bodrum where I want to park. So I've done 49 meters for my yacht.
49 meters, 160 feet.
Obsidian Blade, it's called.
Is it available to see or no?
Obsidian Blade, if you Google it, it'll probably come up.
Okay, type in Obsidian Blade. But this is not a little lotka. This is not like a little, you know.
I have the same problem with my scooter. 4 meters, 8 feet. I don't know where to park.
You know my original. There it is. It looks like a battleship.
What the hell are you going to invade?
China? Ukraine over here?
Looks like a battleship. Look cool, huh?
What the hell?
Well, bring it to Miami. Let's do this.
There's a swimming pool on your boat.
Of course. It's the Obsidian Blade. It's being built right now.
Dude, that's crazy.
But yeah, that does look like more like 42.
It looks like a battleship.
47.
That's 49.
Yeah, I'll say 48.
It's 49.
All right, Tate, we're doing a measuring contest right now. Relax, bro.
But guys, you know, I first went viral, and my first ever, I guess, war, or my first ever contingent, or my first ever complaints about society or complaining about societies was about men and women and dating and these things. And I do think, although in many ways it's juvenile to talk about, a man going out there and pulling chicks and all this crap, it is quite a juvenile conversation. And I'm a 40-year-old man, and I don't really do dating podcasts anymore. I don't talk about these things anymore. It is juvenile. But it is also unprofessional for us to underestimate how important it is for a 21-year-old to have access to females. Because if you completely remove their access to females, you're going to have a problem. And there's a huge, I think you can look up the virgin rates. I don't know if I think you've said this before. Yeah, young men are having less sex than ever before.
Well, Nick is the number one streaming guy. And I know he's saying it because of his religion, but he's a virgin and he has that whole crew.
If he wanted to tonight,
he'd get a girl tomorrow.
For sure. It would be the fastest 8 seconds of his life. But it would happen. But you know what I mean? He's choosing. But, inside joke. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. But 7.5. But go ahead.
Many are complete.
By the way, what just happened here? This inside joke.
It's a pre-story, Andrew. I want to tell Andrew.
Guys, I just want to all be there when Nick loses his virginity. We'll be clapping.
That's why I went to the club. I thought he was going to get some pussy. And look what happened to me.
Yeah,
so don't go.
Great.
So don't go.
But by the way, you're right because when you look
what's
at
the most important thing in the world to you, Patrick?
Family.
What's the most important? Well, who am I prepared to die for now? Ask any of these successful men, why are they still working when they already have more money than they need? It's the only thing that drives a man. Yeah. So if you take away his ability to have family, he's either pissed off or what they've managed to do. The reason there hasn't been a revolution yet is because instead of them being pissed off, they've managed to completely subdue them with porn, weed, video games, and distractions. So then they check out of society.
I agree.
But either way is bad.
I agree.
Either way is bad. Mm-hmm. So now you need to have you will talk about complicated conversations. We're talking about making the world affordable. That's complicated. Let's have a more complicated conversation. Let's have a conversation that's going to get me in a lot of trouble. Fuck it. I'm in trouble anyway. Fuck it. DeSantis.
And the girlfriend. And the girlfriend.
Listen, real niggas do real nigga shit. Put me in jail. No, but seriously, on a serious note, let's have a real complicated conversation. Social media, we talked about the envy, and that's one thing. But you know what's actually the thing about social media that nobody talks about? Women are the mass benefiters in every possible way from the new social media revolution. And let's discuss why. Women enjoy being validated because they're human. We enjoy being validated with our success. We like to be successful, and people say, I know him, he's a successful guy, we like to be validated. Most women like to be validated with their beauty. And we now live in a world, and this is very important for us to understand how this has changed the world. Women had a barrier. Women had something preventing them from getting unlimited attention before social media. And what that thing was physical danger. If a woman dressed in a particular way and walked in front of thousands of men, there was a chance something bad might happen to her. And that prevented her from soliciting unlimited attention from men because she's going to put herself in a compromising position. That no longer exists. Women can get unlimited attention without physical danger. And that has completely changed how women view themselves. That's completely changed how society functions as a whole. In fact, I've been on endless podcasts with very, very average-looking women. Women I wouldn't even touch. And you listen to the things they expect from a man, it's fucking ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's off-the-chain ridiculous. And we now also live in a globalized dating market. You know this better than me, Adam.
Yep.
Miami is one of the 3 cities on earth. Miami, Dubai. Any woman who's beautiful anywhere in America ends up where? Miami. Yeah. Any woman who's beautiful in Estonia ends up in Dubai. We have a few cities with all the money, all the hot chicks in one place. And you're an average dude somewhere else. Every single girl's ignoring you. You have no access to the dating market. This is the problem with conservatism. This is, God rest his soul, Charlie Kirk's problem with his message. Just find a wife, just have kids. The answer to that is all the women who will talk to me are sluts, and none of them want kids.
Yeah.
So we need a solution the level below. We can't just say, guys, go get married, have kids. They're like, well, duh. You may as well say, just go get rich. Yep. Thanks. How? How do I do this?
You're right.
But
you're right.
We need the hows.
But here's the thing, though. Are those guys going to look for those hot girls in Miami who are, to me, not Christian? They're not following the Lord. They're home hookers, because that's what I think OnlyFans is. They're home prostitutes making all that money. They don't need the men. I think, Andrew, and I know we'll get to that package. I want to ask Andrew a question at the end. We've lost Christ. We've lost God. All the problems that we've been talking about is how far we've fallen from God. And it's grace. And guess what he's doing? He's letting the Prince of Darkness, which runs this planet, Andrew, have at it. With all the problems with money, with all the problems with girls, with all the problems with infertility, all this leads to a godless nation. And that's where we become, and that's where all the problems are rooted.
Out of 10, how much trouble do you want me to get myself in? Because if you say 10, I'll give you the answer.
15.
Go 10.
You want
15.
10?
I don't want you to get in trouble, but the truth.
Will you write to me in jail?
I will come. I'll
Let me
come
tell
get
you.
out.
We
Let
will
me tell
come
you.
interview you in jail.
I'll Black Hawk down. I'll come with
See
them.
you soon. Here's why the world's fucked. Here's actually why the world's fucked, and this is why my first original war was against this thing. We can talk about godlessness. We can talk about capitalism. We can talk about all these things. I'll tell you what fucked the world. Feminism.
Yep.
And let me explain
Yep.
why. Let me explain why. Because, you know, I sit on podcasts and girls say to me, you say men should cheat, men can't cheat, men need to be loyal, all this crap, blah, blah, blah. There was a time when there was a very simple social contract, and it wasn't too long ago. In the 1950s or the 1960s, you married your high school sweetheart, you had children. The man could pay for the house. His job was to go to the factory and pay for the house. She had a job which was to birth children and take care of the children. It was bad, not only for her to cheat, but he would be ostracized. Even he, as a man, would be looked down on by society for stepping out of his marriage. That's how society worked. Did men break that contract, or did women break that contract? Because it was feminism and women saying, I don't want to listen to my husband. I want to make my own decisions. I don't want to have children young. I want a Birkin bag, and I want to go on Andrew Tate's Obsidian Blade yacht, so I don't want kids. So let's get rid of this and let me make my own choices. By doing that, we have now built a society where most women are chasing 1% of men and sharing him. And most of those men are so scared of the government, they don't want to give most of these women kids. So we have most women wasting their sexuality as playthings, running around the world for rich men being used as toys. Nobody is focused on family anymore. And men in the middle, the average man, can't even get anywhere near a girl. And that has created all of the societal problems that we've discussed since. It is feminism that has destroyed the West, actually. If people were still focused on family, and I would argue that if you were to get 25-year-old men and 25-year-old women in here and say, do you want kids? The men would all go, yes, I'd love a son. It's the women who go, yeah, maybe when I'm older, not now. Da-da-da. Women don't want to have kids. And they don't want to have kids because they're holding on for a billionaire, which they saw on fucking TikTok. It is feminism which has destroyed everything. And women have actually shot themselves in the foot with this. Because women say to me all the time, yeah, you know, you're advocating for men to have kids or have multiple women and all this, blah, 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 blah. If you believe a broke man doesn't deserve pussy, then you believe a rich man deserves all he wants. You made that choice. You said broke men don't deserve me. So you said only rich men deserve me. And guess what? There's less rich men than there are females. Welcome to the earth you have built, feminists. Welcome to the earth you have built, women. If you're going to sit there and have such unrealistic financial expectations from the man you date, you're going to share him because everyone has those expectations. This is the world that feminism built. Feminism destroyed the West. And every single problem, socialism, the capitalistic issues, the home issues, the birth rate, the crime, all this crap comes from feminism. That's why my war originally was on feminism. Now let's talk about the next stage. Why did that get me in so much trouble? This is what's really interesting. Because as much as I love women, and I'm not a misogynist, and I take care of every woman in my life, and I love my mother, and I have daughters, and I take care of all the women who have my kids, and they have security teams and Bentleys and mansions, and I'm a provider for absolutely everybody. I'm a very nice man. I like women. Unfortunately, women are a conduit. They are used by other groups of powerful men to destroy the society we live in. Do you know what? Let me tell you something. I have this theory. It's the high-low theory. I think we've all heard it before. Who didn't get the vaccine? Billionaires knew better, and homeless people knew better. You get fucked in the middle. Who doesn't pay taxes? Billionaires don't pay taxes. Homeless people don't pay taxes. You get fucked in the middle. If you're really rich, it's true. It's true, right? If you're at the extremes, you understand things that the people in the middle don't. And I never grew up. I'm not a hedge fund. My dad wasn't rich. I didn't have a silver spoon. Unfortunately, I grew up at the absolute bottom. And I got a version of the world as this mafia, gangland, everybody out to get each other. And then I got to the top and I was like, oh shit, it's exactly the fucking same. And you know what you do at the bottom if you're trying to get a guy? You watch his girl's Instagram story. Because she can't help but post the restaurant. She has to show off. That's where he is. Do you know what you do at the bottom if you want to get a guy? You kidnap his girlfriend. You follow her. The guy, he's smart. He's hard to follow. His head's on a swivel. But his chick, she's wandering around. She's on her phone. She's doing her lipstick.
Oh my
That's
God.
how you find him. When the police want to find a criminal and he's hiding, they call all his chicks. This is standard operating procedure. It's the same at the top. How did they get me? How will they get any of you in here? They use women as a conduit to damage people. Women are not evil. I'm not insulting women. I'm saying that the men at the top are using women as a weapon against other men. They're doing it on purpose. And they're doing it by even destroying the fabric of society. Benefits to socialists. This benefits them. That's why they're making women undateable. That's why they're pushing feminism. That's why they're destroying family. That's why they're they're growing the gap between men and women in society, because they know that families are actually their enemy. Read a socialist playbook. Read Democrats. All they are is anti-family. That is their number one primary weapon. So how do you do that? You convince women that having kids is wrong, or having kids is somehow slavery or servitude in some way that's embarrassing to do. You make motherhood, instead of being the highest virtue of a woman like it should be, you do the absolute opposite. This feminism thing, this whole feminism crap, the saddest thing about it is it's not even driven by women. It's driven by evil men behind the feminism, who are using it to attack other men. Just like at the bottom you use women to attack other men, it's exactly the same at the top. And it is feminism that has destroyed the West. And when you go against feminism, like I did, you get in a lot of trouble. If I told you go against the vaccine, you go against Big Pharma, you catch a case, you'd believe me. If I say you go against big women, you catch a case, you'd be like, what? You do. You actually do, because the people who are behind the feminism get very upset when you convince young men not to buy into this crap and to have standards for themselves and to try and push to have a family. That is a big problem for them, because feminism is their primary weapon. Let's discuss why. And I'll ask you a question. This is a thought experiment for everybody here. If you're the king of your castle, would you defend it? If you come home and your wife prepares you a meal and your kids obey you and they love you and they're not psyoped by YouTube and the school system, and when you talk, they respect you as the man, and you all sit around the table and you're the head of the table, and someone comes into your town near your house, your family, you're the king in that household, you're going to defend it. But when you come home and your wife's nagging and you don't fuck and your kids don't listen because they're busy watching YouTube and they've gone to school and learned some crap you don't even like, and every time you have any concerns or raise your voice, your wife's just in your ear nagging at you, pecking away at you, blah, 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 blah. She deserves more. I saw on TikTok this girl had a Lambo. Why don't I have these things? Blah, blah, blah. Are you now preparing, do you feel ready for war as a man? You've given up, bro. You're like, fuck it. Take society. Take the road. Take the street. Take the town. Take the fucking country. Whatever. Leave me alone. Do you know what pushed COVID? Feminism. Feminism. This is why I'm going to jail. Feminism pushed COVID. A man came home, there's COVID and it's really dangerous. Don't care. Oh yeah, but grandma and the kids, and you should just put a mask on. The wife, the women, oh, I'm scared. Because women, as much as I love women, I'm not a misogynist. My judge in Romania is a woman.
How convenient.
Woo! No, as much as I love women, their superpower is emotionality, which means you can beat them with emotional arguments. Let's analyze COVID. How did they get you COVID? Grandma. Now, when they said grandma to me, I said, grandma's 93, and 93-year-olds die. So it's unfortunate, but grandma's old, and I'm young, and I have things to do. It's very unfortunate. This is the circle of life. Women don't think that way. But grandma. Take the vaccine. Lock us in our house for years. Put a mask on. Take it off when you eat. Put it on when you fucking piss. Well, grandma. Emotional arguments. They do this with everything. Immigration. You sit and say, if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. Perhaps that's the number one thing that defines a country is its border. But look at this kid. This kid at the border. A kid. Emotionality. So if you empower women to the point where they're more powerful than men, you now get to psyop the entire population with emotional arguments. You can throw logic out the window. So they have taken feminism, they've empowered women to the point where they're more powerful than men. And anyone sitting here who thinks a woman's not more powerful than him, go to divorce court. You'll learn, as much as we complain about the patriarchy, women have more rights than you, they have more protections than you, there's not a single thing you can do that they can't do, and they can do a whole bunch of things you can't. A woman, take it from me, can lie to the police about you raping her 10 years ago with no evidence and take all your money and put you in a cell. Women run this show. They run it. And it is done purposely by the evil men who want women in charge, so men are scared of them. So when the women believe the emotional argument on the TV, they then henpeck their man into believing it. And before you know it, we're all locked in our house wearing fucking masks for 3 years because of grandma. It is feminism that has destroyed the West. It is big women that has destroyed the West. And me talking about exactly that is why I had to go sit in a fucking cell. That's the problem.
Let me tell you, when you said big woman, you had me. That was like...
he meant big pharma, big women, big women too.
But going
Please
back...
write to me, guys.
Yeah.
No, I don't think...
Let me hang on. Two things. I think the more I sit there and I think about if all of these guys who wanted to do this and were behind it, if there was a number one candidate to take out who was making progress with pro-family, with pro-God, with pro-kids, with finding a community of bringing the youth together, parents were bringing their kids and saying, look at this guy, what he's creating. He's saying go have a job. He's saying marry. He's saying, have kids. The number one guy they took out was Charlie Kirk. He was the number one guy that was making momentum against all this stuff. And by the way, you talk about God and, Jesus and the role it played in Charlie's life, your life, our life. My dad would always say something. It's so interesting what he would say. He would say, do you see that man how he is when his wife is in the room? I said, yeah, what about it? He says, you know why he's like that? I said, why? He doesn't make enough money. He said, the wife, you can tell, he needs money. He doesn't have money saved. A man who has money and savings doesn't act like the way that man acts.
Wow.
And by the way, you know how long he's been saying this? My entire life. He would say, Patrick, whatever you do, go make money because man needs to make money and provide and protect because you want your woman to look at you and you want that look. That look she gives you where you
feel a certain way. That's
boom.
Right.
Papa Gabriel's telling you this?
Oh, he's been saying this for... He would literally sit in a room and he would say, look at the way she looks at her husband. Yeah. Look at the way she looks at her husband. He's lost his manhood. It's a very good point.
I want to put Patrick on the spot because I don't want to go to jail by myself.
Let's do it.
Well, Andrew,
we pull some good
we don't hang out enough. We don't hang out enough.
Taking him with you.
We don't hang out enough.
Andrew, I already have the sign just in case. Just in case. I already started it.
We don't hang out enough. So let's.
You may go, but we're keeping him.
All right. Well, we're all smart men here, right?
Right.
So let's.
Well, three of us.
Okay. Well, we're all smart men.
Sorry,
right?
Adam.
Let's have a conversation, right? If I want to convince you of something, and I need to use facts and logic, then I would argue that more than likely, I'm not saying it's the right thing, but I have some form of evidence to back my theory up, right? I want to convince you with facts and logic, so I need to find evidence. If I want to convince you with an emotional argument, like grandma or like the kid at the border, I don't need facts or evidence. In fact, we can ignore facts and evidence. So the logical conclusion to that is that emotional arguments are likely being used to push bad ideas because they have no evidence and no factual basis. And the other side, the logical, rational arguments, have some degree of factual basis, so those are likely the good ones. So the emotional arguments are the bad ones, and the logical arguments are the good ones. Meaning that the emotional arguments that we're pushing towards feminists who now run their households and all these empowered women are the negative ones. And the ones that men believe, which are based on reasoning and facts and logic, are the good ones. So we're going to do a thought experiment. Let's talk about the emotional arguments, and let's talk about the things that are currently destroying America. And I'm going to ask you a simple yes or no answer, or the simple one of two options. Who supports these ideas more? By and large, generally, women or men. Who supports abortion more, women or men?
Women.
Who supports open borders?
Women.
Who supports socialism?
Women.
So if you start going through all of the problems of America, everything that's destroying it, who is the biggest advocate for these things?
White liberal women.
Women are destroying everything. Put me in jail. No. Women are destroying everything.
But by the way, I would
started with
the
apple.
No, now I'm not saying all women. I'm talking in general. I'm not saying women are bad. I'm saying that they've been psyoped by evil men. I'm actually blaming men here. I'm not blaming women. I'm saying that women are the conduit. Women are being used to do the work of the devil via emotional arguments and destroy Western society. Who is pro drag queen story hour by and large?
The young moms.
Women.
That are, yeah, of course.
Who is, you name,
you must preface it with liberal women.
You name anything negative about Western society that is currently destroying the place and ask who is the largest advocate for this thing, men or women.
It's
women.
It's liberal women.
Every single time. And when you point that out, like I just have, you get in a lot of trouble. With now when a female DA indicts me, there we are.
Well, he said DeSantis and his girlfriend, so I don't know who the girlfriend is.
That's why he tried.
But to go there, Tate, when I was first doing business content only, and I wasn't touching politics, who would approach me? Business guys, young guy, start a business. What do you think I should do? How do I raise money? How do I do this? The moment I said, kind of want to share my thoughts and my opinions about what's going on with politics, and this is like during COVID when I started. Vinny, be careful with the thing. Yeah. So once I started doing that, and I talk about pro-family, and one of the clips I made was about LGBTQ community and what it was doing to America. You know who was one of the first people that commented on it? Charlie Kirk. Charlie said, hey, it's great to see that your content business, you're risking talking about this stuff. And Charlie, I interviewed Charlie in 2017 when he was 23 years old.
Wow.
And I told Mario, I said, this guy's going to be the president one day. This guy's, he's a
100%.
extremely capable guy.
100%.
But I'm going to tell you, the moment I started talking about family values, the moment I started talking about what's going on with America, the challenges, the issues it's facing, you know who started pulling me aside at restaurants? Well, we're at Hamptons one time. A 94-year-old lady comes. I asked her age. Vinny's with me. Yep. She walks up. She says, I never miss your podcast.
Yep.
He says, you have no idea how important you are. My grandkids watch it.
Yep.
Young men need to watch this because you talk family and business combined together.
That's right.
I had more women coming up saying we need more of this content than you would believe. So what's the point?
No, I know that's true.
Yeah, so the point I'm making to you is it's extremely important to qualify its liberal women,
of course,
who have been bought into the psyop that you're talking about to win them over. And of course, the louder they're because
liberal women are feminist women.
What is a conservative woman like? Actually, think about a conservative woman. How does she live? How does she live?
Of course,
her life is very, hey, husband's priority, kids are priority, community's priority. I got to pick up the kids. I got to drop them off. I got to do this. Family's got to be good. They're not out there trying to get everything that comes with it.
So you're completely right, Patrick. And the reason I know you're telling the truth is because, and this flabbergasts people, but I have never had a negative interaction with a woman in person in my life ever. Women come up to me and they love my content too. But when you say conservative women, and this is the thing that might get us in trouble, I ask you, is a conservative woman in charge of her man? Or is a man the head of the household?
No.
Okay, so we're now advocating for a patriarchy. We're now doing the number one thing. Which
no, wait a minute. Let me correct my answer. Ask me the question one more time because I want to give the right answer.
Sure. Is a conservative woman in charge of her man? Is she the head of the household?
I don't think so.
So
I don't think so.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're naturally advocating from a position of protectiveness, not from a position of authority, not from a position of oppression.
Yeah.
We're actually advocating for a patriarchy saying, look, we'll take on the stress. We'll deal with the problems. We'll pay the bills. We'll protect the house. I'm not here to oppress you. I'm not here to treat you badly.
Right.
I'm actually here to lead, and a conservative woman lets a man lead. And that's the point I'm making, that these feminists have been told that a man should never lead them, and that is why they're led astray by the system. So to say things which are controversial and will get you in a lot of trouble, that's my job, so I'll do it. If men are by and large in charge of the households and in charge of society, it is much harder to psyop the population with emotional arguments, which is why they're trying to remove man from the head of the household so they can use emotional arguments to convince you to commit suicide. Right. The Western world is currently committing suicide, and they can only convince you to do that emotionally because it's illogical to destroy your own society. It's illogical. So this is very purposeful. So when a woman sits across from me on any kind of podcast or a dating podcast or anything, says, I don't listen to no man. I'm like, you're not my enemy. You don't realize that you're a pawn on a board. You don't realize you're being used by my actual enemy, who's a man, who understands very well how to destroy the basics of society so that we are open for the mass enslavement. Because if anybody thinks that's where any of this ends, with AI, with the riots, with the burning of cities, with the mass crime, you know what they do? There's only one thing, and COVID's the lesson. There's only one thing that humans will accept a loss of freedom for: safety. I will take away your freedom and give you safety. I can prove that because I live in the safest country in the world and I don't have freedom. But I'm safe, So even I will say, you know what, Dubai is very controlled, but I can wear a $5 million watch in the middle of the night. And my woman and my kid, the young girl and a woman by herself can go for a walk at 3 a.m. So we'll all accept a lack of freedom for safety. When this all burns down, they're going to come back and offer us safety, but they're going to control everything. And that is why they are pushing feminism. That is why talking against feminism gets you in so much trouble, because it is a weapon that is being used en masse to destroy Western society. And any woman who listens to this and thinks that that makes me anti-woman doesn't understand my message. Because what I'm saying is, look, we, as being, you all know this better than me. Patrick, how many times have you heard people say, I want to start my own business so I can choose my own hours?
All the time.
All these guys.
All the time.
All these guys. Being the boss sucks.
24/7.
People who aren't the boss, they go, oh, I want to be the boss because it's easy. That's why they'll never be the boss. When you're the boss, you're more stressed. You have more problems. You have more to deal with. When a man says, I want to run this household, women have been convinced to believe that means he wants to oppress her, when it's actually very much the opposite. He's saying, I want to take away all of the problems so you can focus on being the light in my life. There's a poem, and I don't know it exactly, but you'll have to Google it up. It's a beautiful poem. I think it was by a warlord. He's an Islamic warlord, maybe a couple hundred years ago. He said, stress is mine, pain is mine, war is mine, but you are mine. That is the point of life as a man. So when we come along and say, I want to run the household, and by extension the town, by extension society, it's not to oppress you. It's not to be mean to you. It's to actually protect you. And I've had these conversations with people when I talked earlier about the 1950s and the people getting married. And women come and go, yeah, but what if he beats her? Yeah, of course some men are pieces of shit. Of course there are some dickhead men. Of course 3% of men in 1958 were probably abusive and alcoholics and retards because people suck. But by and large, most men were just trying to pay the bills and raise their kids. By and large. So we live in this really complicated society now. Everything is really messed up. And if you were to ask me, because I've already gone too far to go back now, what's the #1 problem we have to fix in the West? It's not the Jews. It's not even the capitalism. It's none of these stupid reasons that people are coming up with. The #1 problem we have to fix in the West is feminism. We need men and women on the same level playing field, understanding each other, not one above the other, doing different roles, complementary, working together, creating families, and everything will fix itself. You don't have time to tweet anti-Semitic all day when you have fucking kids. You don't have time. You don't have time. That is why we see these fires popping up everywhere. And we're trying to put them out. But you have millions of young men with nothing else to do. What do you expect besides fires?
It's so important. Like, if you want a society to get safer, have a community of people that have a lot to lose.
Bingo.
If you want a society to be reckless and dangerous, high crime, people taking advantage of each other, have a society of a bunch of people who have nothing to lose.
Bingo.
Nothing to lose. You go out with people, you're having dinner. If everybody in that community has a lot to lose, you're safe. People are going to make good decisions. You go to a place with a bunch of people that have nothing to lose. Anything can happen. When you wake up in the morning, you're thinking about, you know, like yesterday I go to the game and I got Dylan with me. It's just Dylan and I. Tico is not a football guy, so I take him there. We're sitting watching a game, and we're going. Everything I'm doing, it's all about like you have to. If he wasn't with me and I'm by myself, I'm going to a very different game yesterday. But everything was okay. What's he need? What do I need to do? Be responsible here. Think about this here because you got something to lose.
Oh yeah. You know what? The worst thing about discussing these things is when you realize how they all interlink and how they all compound. It's kind of like having health problems is worse when you're broke. Like being broke and then getting sick. They double, they compound. It's the world's worst synergy. You know what the saddest thing about Irina getting stabbed in the neck on that bus was? And I tweeted this. And of course, everyone hates me on Twitter because I tell too much truth. But this is the thing. I said, you know what's sad about this? We have a young, beautiful Ukrainian girl who, instead of coming here and getting a rich sugar daddy, instead of being a whore, instead of doing OnlyFans, she decided to work in a pizza parlor. She tried to be honest. She tried to do the right thing, and she caught a knife in the neck. So now we talk about society degrading because men can't find women. Well, now society's degraded, and now women won't be with a normal man because a normal man needs you to have a job, and he needs you to ride the bus. They want to be with me. You know what happened when Irina got stabbed? All of my women text me, thank God you'd never let me ride a bus. And I was like, well, yeah, but now, so what happens? If you're going to be with a man, you expect him to have permanent armed security chauffeurs for you? Is this the new expectation of the average chick? Yep. Arena tried to do the right thing and died for it. Society, by and large, was a contract between men. The society we've built was a very simple contract between men. I think a lot of people don't understand why society was built. The contract was this. We're going to build a world based on laws, and we're going to build a world based on morals and shared values, so that if I leave my house, the other men will protect my wife from any man with ill intentions. If I go to war, you're not going to randomly rape my wife. And if someone attempts it, you're going to stop it. The whole point of society was actually built for us to protect our women. Society was built so that we didn't have to stand next to our woman all day with a loaded gun. And in many places in the world today, because they have no society, you have to do exactly that. You have to stand next to your chick all day, ready to die, or she is going to be taken advantage of or taken from you. The whole societal contract is I get to now leave you alone and do important things to build the world and come back and you're still okay. But that's now broken. That's now breaking because women don't trust us to build the society anymore. They're saying they want to change the society and they're based on emotional arguments and they're disintegrating society from the inside. And that's why it's emotional and not logical because the decisions they're making make them less safe. How illogical is it that women are advocating for things that make their own lives worse? But men aren't in charge anymore. We built the entire society. We're supposed to be patriarchal and evil, if you listen to a feminist. I've listened to feminists' version of history. Men are patriarchal, horrible creatures. We built this entire society for you. We did all of this for you and the kids. That's why we built all of these things. And we're evil now in their version of history. Supposedly we were oppressing them the entire time. Take society away and see what kind of feminist you are. Go to Yemen and be a feminist. Go up to a man in Yemen and tell him your ideas. And you will soon learn feminism is bullshit. It's being used by evil men. Evil men are pushing it. And this is what's very important. Weaponized virtue is very important. This is my actual problem with DeSantis. Because when I flew here, DeSantis is like, women, we need to protect women, da da da. I've not been convicted of a crime. You're now trying to weaponize women against me. I've never hurt a woman. And I'm not convicted of ever hurting a woman anywhere on the planet. And I haven't even been in Florida. Why are you taking women and hitting me over the head with it? When you go to California, what do? You're misogynist, women, women's rights, women. They take big women and they beat the masculinity out of you. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're not allowed to talk animated. You're not allowed to get angry. You're not allowed to defend your society. You're not allowed to stick up for anything. You're not allowed to be Republican. You're not allowed to want your own kids to think a certain way. You're not allowed to do shit because it's bad for women. Are being used as a weapon to destroy masculinity. This is very clear to me. And it is the end of the Western world. That's why I became public enemy number one, saying, guys, go to the gym, stick up for yourself, be a man unapologetically. That makes you a national security threat? When you're a national security threat, all bets are off. It's like being a terrorist. If I was in London when I got designated, they could have fucking blasted me in the street. It's insanity. It's insanity. So when I sit across from feminists, they know not what they do. They don't understand that they're a tool being used to destroy the world. We built the world to protect them. And I'm saying, let's bring the world back to a stage where we can protect you. If you let men be in charge of North Carolina or South Carolina, wherever it was, that piece of shit would be gone. He wouldn't be on a bus. Because men will protect you from bad men. Women aren't going to protect you from the bad men. Your other feminist sisters aren't going to protect you from the bad men. Men are going to protect you from the bad men. But we have no authority left whatsoever in the Western world. We're nothing other than serfs and slaves to this feminist, insane gynocracy we live in. And it's crazy. It's so crazy. Most people don't even realize that we're operating in 3 phases at the exact same time. Women are better than you at everything. While also you're equal. Watch Netflix. They can beat you up and they're smarter than you. Watch any family show. The woman is smart, the mom is smart, the dad's an idiot. They're better than you at everything, while also you're equal at everything, while also a permanent victim of you if you do something or they do something they don't like. They're better than you and smarter than you, and also you're equal, but if they have sex with you 10 years ago and changed their mind about it, you tricked them. How the fuck can a man operate in these three phases at the same time?
You can't.
You can't. It's impossible.
Yeah.
We're living in an impossible society. Men are getting wrecked every which way. The men who get girls get rape cases. Most men can't get girls at all. The men who get married get dragged through divorce court. The man who tries to be a good parent to his kids loses to kid. Men are getting completely destroyed. If you talk about any of these ideas, you're a bad guy. I thought we had a men's mental health crisis. Guys, more men commit suicide. More men go to jail. More men die in war. More men die from crime. If this was the other way around, then it was women suffering from these things. Do you have any idea the breakdown society would have?
Have you stopped talking about this? Have you stopped intentionally talking about this?
This is the first time I've talked about any of this stuff in years, because it just puts me in jail.
But by the way, no, here's the question. There's nothing you said to me right now that was out of line.
I'll tell you what. Tomorrow the BBC is going to print Andrew Tate, misogynist, sits on Patrick Bet-David podcast and says that men should control women. And they're going to paint this narrative. That's what they're going to do. Then they're going to get an all-female jury, and they're going to put it in front of a bunch of women, a bunch of girls, and they're going to put them all over the TV, and they're going to say how dangerous I am. And my ideas are dangerous because they're convincing young men to do dangerous things. Then they're going to find a woman who was randomly attacked and stabbed to death by a migrant, and they're going to say, I did it. The British government's already done this. Look it up. Yeah. Crime against women is bad because of Andrew Tate. They're going to find a migrant from fucking Sudan who stabs a random woman to death, and they're going to say it's because of me on podcasts with my ideas, even though it's nothing to do with me. And they're going to use it to hit me over the head and put me in jail. You can look this up right now. The BBC already prints it. That's why, if I talk about these things, that's why I said out of 10, how much trouble am I going to get in?
Yeah.
I'm actually genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, trying to protect my daughters. I'm actually trying to explain that now the safest place for my daughters to live is a patriarchy, the UAE. Why? I want my daughters safe. I want the mothers of my kids safe when I'm not next to them with a weapon. And that only seems to happen in patriarchal societies. So I'm not the bad guy here. I have a bunch of women in my life I love and care about. And I truly believe that it is my job to protect them. And if it's my job to protect you, I must have some degree of authority over the society we live in and some authority over you. If it's my job to protect you and you're my wife and I say don't walk alone at night at 4 a.m., am I oppressive? I'm trying to protect you. That's all I'm trying to do. But, as I said, there are very, very powerful men which have huge vested interest in feminism, and they're using it to destroy society. Who just got shot for trying to run over an ICE officer?
A lesbian, feminist, liberal white woman.
Yeah, of course.
There we are.
Well, Tate, I believe that this is when you're at your best. And the fact that you would get arrested for speaking
the truth
or get shot in the neck for speaking Charlie Kirk is exactly why they don't want you speaking. And I believe that men and women are better together. Of course. You've seen the hat that make women women again.
Yep.
So what I want to understand is, like, what's the answer? Because the answer is certainly not
We got 10 minutes.
feminism.
Let's do 10 more minutes and wrap up.
So the answer is certainly not feminism and wokeism, but the answer is certainly not keeping your women in hijabs. So which one is it?
Correct. Right. So we need to be complementary. Like any relationship, all relationships in the world are transactional. You're all friends because it's a transactional relationship. Business relationships are transactional. Friends are transactional. Male-to-male relationships are transactional. Geopolitics is transactional. When Europe is now currently pissing their pants about Greenland being retards, crying their eyes out, they don't understand that international law means nothing. Pieces of paper that are printed means nothing. If we want to kidnap the president of Venezuela, we're going to do it because we're fucking America. Yeah. That's what it is. It's transactional. It wasn't a forever war. It wasn't trillions of dollars in dead American people. No, it was 45 minutes, collect the oil, in and out, bang, makes sense. Everything is transactional. There has to be a clear social contract between men and women, a transaction. In the 1950s, I just described it. I'll give you a house, a white picket fence. I'll make sure the bills are paid. You're not going to stress me out. I'm the head of this household. The children are going to be raised with our ideals, primarily my ideals, and we're all going to do our jobs. Just like any company. You hire members of staff to do their job. You don't want people who are in charge of one thing doing something else. And you don't, otherwise everything collapses. So we no longer have a clear transaction between men and women. Women expect, the modern woman in Miami expects you to give her endless money for no reason, while she goes and parties with the girls as much as she wants, while she's not even loyal to you and doesn't give you offspring, and you pay all her bills. and she goes on social media looking for another rich man. That's what she believes should happen. That's not a transaction.
But that's on the man.
No.
That's on the man to say no.
Of course.
We're not playing that game.
Of course it is.
And find a woman who is willing to do that if you have status and money.
If you're the best man, you can do that, but the average man can't.
Nor should they.
We have to build society. We have to build society in a way that the average man stands a chance. Let me give you an example. Let me give you a very simple example. When you make laws, you always have to consider the average and the mean. Why is there speed limits? There are speed limits because most people are stupid or slow or distracted or they have an old crap car. You don't get to say the speed limit's 50, but if you have a Ferrari with carbon ceramic brakes and you're a trained race driver, you can break the speed limit. Because then you can't enforce the speed limit. You have to make laws based on the average capability of people. So we need to build a social contract between men and women that allows the average woman and the average man to coexist and both benefit, be happy with the transaction. You know, a lot of people believe in love as this fairy tale, magical, sparkle, you know, it's like the movies, like the books. Love is actually, truthfully, very transactional. If a woman goes, you only love Andrew because he gives you a big house and pays all the bills and keeps you safe and cheers you up when you're sad and gives you a car and makes you happy with surprises, and he only loves you because other men don't talk to you and you're beautiful and you give him kids. That's not real love. No, that is real love. That's actually love, right? This idea that we're in love and there's no transaction, it's just like the movies, that's bullshit. It's actually all transactional.
Exactly.
So we've now gone so hyper-transactional that women are on fucking OnlyFans or walking around on Instagram saying, buy me a Birkin for a date. What I'm saying is we need to build, and I'm not saying I know everything. I'm identifying the problem. We need to build a social contract in which the average woman is happy with what's being provided to her by the average man, and vice versa. If we do that, everything's fixed. And the easiest way to do that, I would argue, is to stop convincing young women to hate men. At least don't convince young women to hate all men. That's a good starting point. If we can do at least that, then we might be able to convince people to come together. Of course. Because society is based on men and women. When they call me a misogynist, how am I a misogynist if I take care of every woman in my life and I'm trying to have as many children as possible? If I was a misogynist, I wouldn't talk to girls. So it's a lie. It's a lie. It's weaponized virtue they're using to try and destroy my message. And this is very important when you understand when people are accused of things. The primary objective of an accusation is to distract you from a guy's ideas. When people say Andrew Tate, they're not going to say Andrew Tate and his ideas. They now say Andrew Tate and his accusations. That is the goal. The goal is to take everyone's mind away from what I say and more about what I'm accused of. I can accuse you of being a ham sandwich. Who gives a fuck? You're not a ham sandwich. It doesn't matter. This is the world we live in. So I think, truthfully, to fix Western society, we have to heal the gap between men and women. And it can't just be for beautiful baddies in Miami and all us millionaires. We have a great time. It's fine for us. But if you want society to function, it has to be for the average man and the average woman. When we fix that, everything, even anti-Semitism, will decline. Everything.
Baruch Hashem.
All right, so Tate, based on what you're saying, my interpretation of what you're saying is Andrew's moving to Miami. Right? His boat is coming down to Miami.
49
There's a big party going on tonight in Miami on his boat.
Yeah, sure.
You're all not invited. Okay, it's not going to fit. But no, this is the Tate, and I don't know why you stopped talking about this stuff. And it makes sense what you're saying, but to me, it's also a more clear, defined argument today than even 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's toned down in one side that you would add 4 years ago, which was more sensational and it was more entertaining. But this is pure logic. You don't agree with it, go debate it.
You know what, guys? I like to believe I'm logical enough to give credit to my enemies. And I have to give credit to my enemies. They are so vindictive and conniving and smart. They will take this podcast, they will find 3 seconds. They will put the clip everywhere. They will take it out of context. They will print in the mainstream media. They will get lawyers to start saying I need to go to jail. They'll get Keir Starmer in the parliament tomorrow. MPs will start saying I'm the reason that women get raped by random migrants. They're going to hit me with new criminal cases, hate speech. I'm only a man. I'm just a man, guys. And I'm not sitting here trying to be fucking Superman. It gets to a point where your enemy is so conniving and so powerful, and they're hitting you with so many bullets, and then you log into Twitter and there's some dipshit who goes, you're a misogynist. It's like, who am I even trying to help? These men believe the fucking matrix that's destroying them. Who am I even trying to save? You get beaten down. You know, in my whole 4 years, in all the 4 years of crap I went through, there was 1 hour where I really felt it. Because my mind is strong, I can deal with things. But there was 1 hour where I really felt it. Long story short, I'd already been to jail in Romania. I'm out on house arrest. I got arrested again by the Romanians, had another criminal case, got out on house arrest again. Luckily, I'm not back in jail. The Brits issue a warrant, international arrest warrant. 2009 assault. Doesn't say who, doesn't say where, doesn't say when. They're unhappy with the Romanians failing. They said, give him to us. The Romanians said, no, not till his criminal case in Romania is done. We're not going to extradite him to England. I went home and I was like, I'm on house arrest. I've been locked in my house for 2 years. Before that, I was in jail. I've not been convicted of any crime. I have 21 charges in the most corrupt judicial system in Europe. Whether I go to jail or not, after this is all done, whether I do 10 years in Rahova, where people get stabbed to death every single day, or I bust case, either way, I get then sent to England, remanded, Belmarsh, and have to face this all again. The next decade of my life is house and jail and court, because I said that men and women should work together. And you get to a point, Patrick, where you think, what the fuck am I fighting for? You do. I'm a man. Now, when I tell you the whole 1.5 hour story, you'll see Providence was on my side. Perhaps God loves me. Perhaps I have a mission. I don't know. But there was a point where the idea that I would be in Miami was completely unfathomable. I'm looking at 50 criminal charges, and I'm sitting there like, this is all because I was deemed a national security threat for telling young men to stick up for themselves. And I'm telling you, what broke me, what breaks you isn't the government. And what breaks you is when you log into Twitter or some guy you were trying to help. You know what breaks me? When people go, well, the Romanians said, guys, the Romanians are liars. If you believe that shit and I'm trying to help you, what the fuck am I talking for? You do. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I said this to Tristan. You know who must suffer from this the most? Our president. Imagine trying to fix America and reading the bullshit they write about. Do you have any idea how it feels to be Trump, to be doing your best, trying to fix America, and seeing all these fucking clowns call you names, insult your family, wish you got killed, laugh when Charlie's killed? You must just be like, who the fuck am I even trying to help now? And you wonder why billionaires sell out to globalists and go, fuck it, enslave them? You wonder why billionaires don't just do the deal and go, yeah, fuck it, enslave them, I'm going on my boat. Yep. You wonder why most rich people just give up? I'm telling you, the reason I stopped talking about these things is because you get to a point where they're hitting you so hard, and they're not done with me. The chance of me going to jail in the next 10 years is somewhere around 100%. And it's not because I've done anything wrong. It's because I'm convincing. And when you understand the world, you understand that every single thing on the planet is nothing other than a battle for influence. The media, which no one pays for, is funded by governments to influence you. Putin is in Ukraine right now with tanks and men shooting each other so that he can get control of territory. Why? So he can influence the people in that territory. What currency they use, what news they listen to, what language they speak. Everything's a battle for influence. And if you're one guy, like me, who can get more views than the BBC, they're gonna shut you up. They're gonna shut you up. So the reason I haven't talked about this for a very long time, and I decided to today, I at least hope when future problems come my way, you guys remember this particular day, because it's because of this. This is exactly why it's going to happen.
This is the number one topic.
100% this is why. Every single time this is why. And they put me in front of a female judge and a female prosecutor, and they say I'm a misogynist and I don't respect women and that I'm the reason women get raped and attacked, when I've done nothing but advocate for the safety of women this entire podcast, and that I'm toxic, and that I'm the reason that women aren't safe in society, and that I must be put away. And I have to stand there and try and defend myself. And it's nearly impossible, because I don't have 5 hours in court. I get 3 minutes to tell my side of the story. And then they throw me back in a fucking cell. So that's why I haven't spoke about this subject. And I'm hoping enough, you know, one of the reasons I made a conscious decision to talk about it today, because I didn't do this haphazardly. I thought about it. I like to believe, and I don't want to take credit or be arrogant, I like to believe that me personally, as an individual, I have shifted the Overton window heavily since I became famous. Mm-hmm. Things I was saying that were considered sensationalist at the beginning, like men drive better than women, for example, as a joke, that literally blew the world apart with mainstream news. Now everyone's saying it. Now everyone's like, chicks can't drive. I'm like, see? I've shifted the Overton window, and perhaps, maybe I've shifted it enough for very important people in the American administration to watch this and go, you know what? He is misunderstood. You know what? We do need to call Keir and say, you can't get this guy for hate speech for 25 years for having these opinions. Enough is a fucking enough. This is my gamble. That powerful people in the world will see that I'm not this big, evil, toxic, misogynistic human trafficker. That Ron DeSantis is a fucking moron and watched too much Romanian TV. And that I'm actually completely misunderstood. But if I gambled wrong, I'm in a whole bunch more shit. And I'll see you guys. Well, Patrick probably ain't going to join me. I didn't get him. But I look forward to all of your letters. And I'll do my best to write back. And that's how it's going to go.
There you go. That's Andrew Tate for you. And when you're saying chicks don't know how to drive, this guy also doesn't know how to drive. Never lend him a car. If you lend him a car...
He's around too many women all the time. That's why.
It's rubbing off on him.
Yeah, by the way, I will be able to drive your 49-meter yacht boat in Miami.
Don't do it.
So whatever
it's going to be chaotic. Anyways, Andrew, as usual, I don't know. This is fourth or fifth time. I don't know what it is.
Fourth, I
This
think.
is the fourth time that we've done.
Dude,
And,
I got so much love for you, and I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, Tate. And I see somebody in the audience. I don't want to say his name, but what a handsome-looking, James Bond-looking guy.
Oh, I see him
He's
right
here.
there.
But,
Can you make a cameo?
No,
He came here to shut me up. He's probably rushing over going, Andrew, no! So, sorry,
don't say that.
T,
Anyway.
see you in jail.
Yeah. By the way,
Ricky.
to everybody that's here that you wish you were in the room, because we got people on that room, you want to learn more about the boardroom, go to the boardroom cigar lounge. We'll put the link below. Fill out the information. Everybody goes through background check. Maybe we'll have you be a member as well. God bless everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah.